We back up in here. You know what time it is. Do you know what crime it is? Hey, we finna kick it off tonight. This is a helter skelter kind of joint right here. Like, this one is wicked. It says mother of three brutally unalive before husband uncovers her partner's deadly trap. Let's go.
In Minot, North Dakota, 33-year-old Christopher Jackson gets home from his night shift at Walmart to find out that his house seems to have been burgled. His fiancée and their 19-month-old son are inside, so he calls 911.
519 16th Street. I just got home. My back door is kicked in, and my girl ain't answering the phone.
Okay, what's your name?
My name's Christopher Jackson. My son's inside with her and everything. I'm about to go in and see what the fuck is going on.
Okay, why don't you just wait for officers? I'll get over there.
His fiancée, 30-year-old Angela Wilder, is inside, a nursing student and the devoted mother of three, expecting a fourth. She had spent the past 2 weeks quietly excited about a surprise that she was planning. In a few minutes, officers will walk through her front door not knowing what they're about to find.
Uh-oh.
But so far, there's no sign of Chris's fiancée. And there's one last room to check, the master bedroom. And inside, they discover the scene of Chris's nightmares. Angela lies dead on the floor in a pool of blood. She appears to have multiple stab wounds, and the fingernails on her left hand are broken. She tried to fight back, but she didn't succeed. Her killer was careful in covering his tracks because there's no sign of a murder weapon. Now, the detective's immediate theory is that Angela's killer was someone known to her. And with Chris's erratic behavior and his status as her fiancé, he's where the detectives start their investigation. His son in his arms, they whisk him away to the police department. If anyone knows why this bright, loving mother's life ended in murder, it might be him. But what he has to share will reveal this case to be anything but straightforward.
Can I do this? I'll get him right away, and I promise to be taken care of, all right?
We want to know what happened just as much as you say you want to know as well, okay? So we have to ask some of the hard questions, and I hope you understand, okay? We had to ask some of the questions that seem a little uncomfortable and uncalled for, but we still have to ask them. Do you understand?
LA.
And you watch those recording shows, right? It does get difficult at times, but there's always a reason why we have to, okay? So if you need a break, you need a breather, you just let us know. My name is Krista. You can call me Krista. This is Greg. Okay? Can we call you Chris, or would you rather be called Christopher? Chris. You know Angela for a long time. How long? High school? Yeah. So walk me through what happened this morning. And the more you can tell us, the better chance you have.
I always call her on break, just to see how she's doing, see how the kids got put to bed, everything, just to talk to her. Mm-hmm. Because over the nights, whenever I get in, we have maybe 4 or 5 hours to spend together, something like that with the kids, and then I got to go to bed, so I could work that night. I called her at 12 o'clock.
So midnight?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take notes while we're talking to her.
I understand.
Okay. All right. So you
I called her at midnight. Then I called her at lunch, and we talked for a minute, and she was tired and everything. I said, "Sweetheart, are you feeling sleepy? You want to get some sleep?" She said, "Yeah. I want to go back to work." And then I called her. Nobody picked up. And I figured, okay, she's just tired. But she always picks up whenever I call her. She's only not picked up maybe one other time before, and that's because she was tired. She went to sleep early and stuff, and she didn't hear her phone. I called her, nobody picked up. I said, okay, she's just tired. Shot her a text message, said, "I love you," blah, blah, blah. I told her what was going on with the work and everything. Mm-hmm. 7 o'clock or 6:50 gets here. I go to clock out about 6:51, 6:52 or something. And I go walking out to the lot because usually she's out there. And she's not out there this morning. So I called her to see where she was at. And see if she wasn't over getting ready because I don't have a license. So she comes and gets me from work and she drops me off. Mm-hmm. And I keep calling her and she's not picking up the phone. So I call a taxi because I figure she's just that tired. I get to the house and I go over there because he parks in the neighbor's driveway. I walk up to our bedroom window, it's facing the school and stuff, and I start banging on it. And I wait for her to come to the window. She has to come to the window and I bang on the window some more and I wait. And I do it again a couple more times and she never comes to the window. So I walk around back and the door is open, and something in my stomach just felt wrong. I walked up to the door, I looked in, and the door going downstairs is open too. And immediately I thought something's wrong. Her car is still here. She didn't leave. She would have answered the phone. So I called the cops, and I told them, I just got home from work. My door is open, or it's supposed to get. And then the guys came, and they wouldn't let me in the house. They asked me to wait outside, and they went inside. And just more people started showing up and going inside, and they brought me out. And I stood there for a minute. They went in and they asked me if they could kick our bedroom door. And I told them it was okay. I heard them break the door and stuff. And they come out and nobody's telling me any fucking thing. They're just walking out, getting cold. So we sit in the car and turn on the heater. And everything's cold. And the guys go in and they come back out. They're wiping down like the equipment and shit, all these fucking wires, and still no Angela. And then we sit in the car for a while, to one fucking police car, then we get to the next one, and now we're here.
So you go to work at 10. Did she give you a ride to work then?
Hey, y'all, you know
She
what?
takes all the kids up there.
If it's one thing I can't stand, a police station with bad audio. Man, we ain't too invested in this crime, and I am not finna sit here and listen to this. I have other crimes to get to when it comes to the bad audio. I can't do it. Next one. 18 or killer makes desperate move after realizing the case is closing in.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
I'm worried about my wife and kids.
Gunfire for a medic and an ambulance, expedited response.
I have always maintained that I thought she might be here.
Jennifer Dulos led the perfect life. Wealthy and active and smart, she had a beautiful family and an attractive, enterprising husband. Her dreams had come true, but things were not as they seemed, and the ideal life was about to crumble. A marriage full of tensions was reaching boiling point. Jennifer would go on to take her children and run, but when she finally disappeared, it wasn't of her own volition. So where did she go? What happened to this brilliant writer and loving wife? And what did her husband have to do with it? This is the tragic story of Jennifer Dulos. Jennifer Dulos was born in 1968 in New York City. She came from a well-to-do family. Her father was a banker and her mother was a philanthropist, while her aunt by marriage was Liz Claiborne, who founded the fashion company that would later buy the Kate Spade brand. As a result, Jennifer grew up in a creative and financially supportive environment. She was smart and had the pick of Ivy League universities, and she chose Brown. She graduated from Brown in 1990 and went on to pursue a master's degree in writing at an arts university in New York. Jennifer had always dreamed of a high society life. In an essay she published in 1998, when she was 30, she wrote about the women she idolized. Correctly poised supergirls, well-educated, accomplished, thoroughbred. Her dream career would not be a career at all. It would be supervising her family's New York calendars. Still, she occupied herself writing and was a known figure on New York's literary scene in the 90s, described as a vibrant presence. She wrote multiple plays about her romantic experiences, reflecting fears about commitment and emotional honesty. She had a string of relationships that did not succeed, but she was still looking for the one. At the end of the 90s, Jennifer moved out of New York. She had no more romantic luck in the countryside, and her ideal life began to feel more of a distant dream. Little did she know she'd already met the man of her dreams, the man who would become her husband. Fotis Dulos was Greek, born in Istanbul in 1967. At the age of 7, he and his family had moved to Athens, but he wanted more. In a piece of personal writing, he said he wanted to get exposed to societies and cultures beyond his own country. He was smart and ambitious, and this ambition led him across the Atlantic to Brown University, where he began his degree a year before Jennifer did. Jennifer met Fotis in her first week at Brown. They had chemistry, but it didn't go anywhere. Jennifer was settling into her exciting new life, and Fotis was preoccupied with his existing romances. He graduated in 1989 and went to Columbia for his MBA in finance. In 2000, he married another Brown graduate, Hillary Aldama. Hillary was also ambitious, a lawyer and a writer, but this led to friction in their relationship.
There is something very attractive when you're a creative person yourself and you meet somebody who's also an entrepreneur. You're riding that high bridge with them and you're kind of like dangling off the sides.
Fotis was indeed living a successful life. He was a manager at a technology consulting firm and sought the high life wherever he could. A friend said everything with him had to be the best ski equipment, the Porsche. He was also highly athletic, early to the 2010s wellness trend. Jennifer had been a competitive squash player and continued to enjoy running. They had a lot in common, and with Fotis' marriage to Hillary on the rocks, it was no wonder that sparks flew when Fotis and Jennifer ran into each other at the airport in Aspen in 2003. A year later, January 13, 2004, Fotis emailed Jennifer, His divorce from Hillary was in progress, and he wanted to meet up with Jennifer. He wanted to breathe life into the connection they'd always shared since they first met at Brown in 1986. Jennifer described him on her blog as this young man I'd always liked. We had a special chemistry together, always, something special and precious, and we were careful to be careful with one another until lightning finally struck. In 2004, a month after Fotis and Hillary's divorce went through, Jennifer and Fotis were married in Manhattan. The divorce was settled amicably, but Hillary was glad to be out of it.
That was a relationship that was very unhealthy, that actually ended up involving a high-profile case. You literally dodged a bullet there.
I think so.
No one could have known how Fotis' second marriage would end. Jennifer certainly didn't. She thought she was getting everything she dreamed of: a supportive, athletic, and attractive husband, a large family, and a life of luxury to go along with it. The couple moved to picturesque Farmington, Connecticut, and there Fotis started his own business with the financial backing of Jennifer's banker father. In Connecticut, Jennifer struggled to make new friends. She socialized mainly with Fotis' friends and participated in his hobbies like water skiing, though she hated it. Her own interests, such as writing, were set aside, and her unfinished novel manuscript went into a drawer to collect dust. Fotis had a very chaotic working method. A friend described him as a last-minute shooting-for-the-deadline kind of guy. Meanwhile, they were both getting stressed under the pressure to have children. They both wanted to conceive, but they were struggling. They turned to medical intervention, and finally Jennifer gave birth to twins in 2006. But this heralded a new era of their relationship, and the beginning of its decline. Jennifer and Fotis had 5 children together, including 2 sets of twins. The family was active and high-achieving, just the way Jennifer had dreamed of it. The kids' days were packed with hobbies, such as art, horse riding, and Fotis' beloved water skiing. But family life was also stressful. To keep cash flowing in his real estate business, Fotis constantly moved them from house to house, and the kids' busy lives meant that Jennifer had little time for herself. She and Fotis began to fight. In a blog post in 2012, Jennifer wrote, "I wish I were a stronger person, and that confrontation did not both scare and appall me." Hints like this of deep conflicts in the marriage were littered across her writing, and external pressures emerged too. Fotis' parents moved to the US, but his mother was killed shortly afterwards in a freak accident, run over by the couple's nanny. Jennifer's father developed complications from an autoimmune disease. Sometimes pressures like these can draw couples closer together, but instead they pushed Jennifer and Fotis only further apart. Fotis began spending time away from home. Sometimes he was gone for as many as 10 days each month on what he said were water skiing trips. Jennifer, meanwhile, drew into herself, spending more time reading, and became increasingly isolated as Fotis cut her off from her friends. Fotis also displayed aggressive behavior. He punched out a parking lot attendant at her parents' apartment building and forced the kids to compete at ever higher water ski levels when they didn't want to. Jennifer wrote, "They are physically and emotionally exhausted and have begged me to do something about it. We are all terrified to disobey my husband." Things came to a head in 2017. Jennifer's father died, and it was amidst her grief that Fotis told her he was having an affair. His mistress was a Venezuelan woman named Michelle Troconis. Born in 1975, Michelle was a marketing and PR manager for high-end resorts, an advanced skier with ambitions to rank in the top 50 water skiers nationwide. Just the way Fotis and Jennifer had felt an instant attraction when they reconnected in 2003, so too did Fotis and Michelle now realize their similarities, and Fotis cast Jennifer aside. Fotis told Jennifer he'd fallen out of love with her. He said he still wanted to remain close with her and the children, however, and did not want them to move. He even suggested that Michelle could move into their mansion, which was plenty large enough to host all of them together. Jennifer couldn't believe this. She opened up to the kid's nanny.
She opened up more, saying that she was no longer in love with Fotis, but she had 5 kids, so they were going to try and work out what they could.
After an emotional year, she was reaching breaking point, and there was one final straw. Jennifer and Fotis had an agreement not to bring guns into the home for the sake of the kids. Yet around this time, Fotis bought a 9mm Glock. Jennifer learned this not from Fotis himself, but from their children. Fotis had shown the gun to the kids before telling Jennifer he'd bought it, so breaking their agreement. The introduction of a deadly weapon into an already conflicted household worried Jennifer.
She was afraid of what Fotis would do to her or with the kids if she filed for divorce while they were living under the same roof.
So she made a plan to move out secretly. Under the cover of night in June 2017, she piled the kids into the car and drove them to a new home in New Canaan. Fotis was furious. He called 911.
I'm worried about my wife and kids because they left to go to New York, and I haven't been able to get in touch with them.
Okay.
But nothing bad had happened to Jennifer. Not yet. The next day, she filed for divorce. In the filing, she wrote, "I know that filing for divorce and filing this motion will enrage him. I know he will retaliate by trying to harm me in some way." She mentioned Fotis' affair with Michelle and alleged he had threatened to kidnap their children if Jennifer did not agree to his terms. The couple were given temporary joint custody while the divorce was settled, but Jennifer made multiple requests for emergency sole custody. In March 2018, this was granted, as a judge learned that Fotis had been seeing the children in the presence of Michelle, which was not allowed, and telling them to lie about it. Fotis had lost custody of his children. He also felt undermined and emasculated. He claimed Jennifer had told the kids, "Your father likes Farmington because he is not that smart. Successful people live in New Canaan." On top of all this, he was losing money. Upon Jennifer's father's death, her mother sued Fotis for the loan he'd been given for his business, at least $1.7 million.
Damn.
The pressure was escalating, and the outcome of the divorce looked like it would be humiliating indeed. In May 2019, relations had soured even further. A family dog was dying of a terminal illness, and Fotis and Michelle wanted the kids to visit to say goodbye. Jennifer didn't trust Fotis even this far. She wouldn't let the children go. An employee of Fotis witnessed Michelle's resulting fury.
She said that should be buried right next to his dog.
It was not long after this that Jennifer Dulos went missing. On May 24th, 2019, Jennifer was seen dropping the kids off at school in New Canaan at around 8 a.m. She was then seen by a neighbor's security camera returning home at 8:05. She had 2 doctor's appointments scheduled for that day in New York City, an hour away, one at 11 a.m. and one at 1 p.m. She did not turn up for either appointment. At around 11, the children's nanny, Lauren Almeida, arrived at Jennifer's house. She let herself in.
Did you notice anything unusual when you went to the garage?
When I went into the garage, yes, the Range Rover was still there and the Suburban was gone when she told me she would be taking the Range Rover.
Did you notice anything unusual?
A couple things, yes.
Tell the jury what you noticed.
So first, her purse was on the floor. The tea was still full. There were only 2 rolls of paper towels left.
Lauren went about her daily tasks as usual. She wouldn't recognize these signs as foreboding until later on. She picked up the kids and texted Jennifer because one of the kids couldn't find her iPad, but Jennifer didn't answer. They were supposed to be meeting Jennifer at her mom's apartment in Manhattan, but Jennifer never showed up.
It's like my stomach just sank because she never not answered her phone.
Lauren called around to Jennifer's friends. No one had seen her. Upon learning that her boss hadn't turned up to her appointments in New York and hadn't been seen since 8 that morning, Lauren called the police. The police found blood spatter on the floor, door, and a wall in the garage. There was also blood on the exterior of the Range Rover and in the kitchen. When they DNA tested this blood, they found it was all Jennifer's. All of it except the blood on the kitchen faucet, which was a combination of Jennifer's and Fotis's. Someone had tried to clean up the blood, which was why Lauren hadn't noticed any, and why there was so little kitchen roll left. Jennifer's Suburban was found parked behind Waveney Park in New Canaan that night. On May 26th, the police commenced a search of the 300-acre park. As the days passed without any sign, they extended their search, looking in the vicinity of Fotis's properties. When a wife goes missing, the husband is always the first port of call. And in this case, with such a contentious divorce going on, Fotis cut a highly suspicious figure. And new evidence was emerging. The area had a lot of CCTV coverage, since it was filled with high-value properties whose owners valued their security. Doorbell cameras and street CCTV captured the sequence of events on that fateful May 24th as clearly as any eyewitness. At approximately 7:30 p.m. on that day, a pickup truck registered to Fotis's company was seen driving down Albany Avenue with several trash bags in the back. It dipped out of camera view, and then when seen again, there were considerably less bags in the back, and a man could be seen getting out to put another bag in a trash can. This routine continued several times. The driver was Fotis Dulos and the passenger was Michelle Troconis, and they were disposing of something piecemeal, like they were trying to avert suspicion. The police searched these trash cans. They found all the evidence the pair had been trying to dispose of, a huge collection of items, many of them stained with Jennifer's blood. The items included cleaning materials, Jennifer's clothes, and zip ties. This was enough for the police to consider Jennifer's disappearance a suspicious death, and for both Fotis and Michelle to be arrested. A search warrant uncovered further damning evidence. At Fotis's house, the police found what they called an alibi script. It was a handwritten timeline outlining both Fotis and Michelle's movements on May 24th and 25th. It claimed Michelle had spent the morning when Jennifer had been killed running errands, a story Michelle stuck to in her first police interview.
Fotis killed Jennifer. Okay, this is a fact. We know this.
Michelle reacted shocked, but was this genuine? She invented a story about the timeline being a request from Fotis's lawyer, but it omitted their trip dumping trash on the evening of May 24th, when they'd been seen clearly on CCTV. If this was a lie, what else were they hiding? Michelle was interviewed 3 times. Across these interviews, she contradicted herself and Fotis. When asked where Fotis had been on the morning of May 24th, she stated they'd woken up together at 6:40 a.m. This was inconsistent with Fotis's cell phone records, which showed his alarm had activated at 4:20 a.m. and had been shut off at 4:21 a.m. When pressed, Michelle said that Fotis might not have been at home all morning. Finally, in the 3rd interview, she admitted that Fotis had not been home when her own alarm went off at 6:40 a.m. Fotis's alibi had collapsed. With that, the story began to unravel. On May 29th, Fotis and Michelle together took the pickup truck, which belonged to one of Fotis's employees, to a car wash. The police seized the vehicle in June, and Jennifer's blood was found on the passenger seat. All the couple's efforts to cover up what they'd done couldn't escape cold, hard facts: DNA evidence and CCTV recordings. A residential surveillance system showed a figure on a bicycle cycling towards Jennifer's house at 7:31 on the morning of May 24th. It was Fotis. Another surveillance camera caught the pickup truck driving towards that area and parking in a turnoff behind Waveney Park, the same turnoff in which Jennifer's Suburban would be found later that same day. The truck bed was at that point empty. At 8:05, Jennifer arrived home, and at 10:25, her Suburban was seen driving away from her house, but it was not Jennifer who was driving it. In those 2 hours and 20 minutes, Jennifer had been murdered. What exactly she was subjected to by her soon-to-be ex-husband, we don't know. Her body was never found, but prosecutors believe that Fotis restrained Jennifer with zip ties around her wrists and ankles before stabbing her. The weapon has also not been found. According to prosecutors, Fotis used the 10 missing rolls of kitchen roll to clean up Jennifer's blood. They then loaded her body and his bike into the Suburban and drove them over to the turnoff where he'd left the pickup. He transferred his wife's body into the pickup truck alongside his bike and left her car there with the lights on, as if to imply she'd been abducted in a hurry.
What?
It was becoming clear what Fotis and Michelle had done, possibly with the assistance of some of Fotis's colleagues. Fotis's legal team became desperate. They suggested that Jennifer could have executed a Gone Girl-style disappearance, in which she framed her husband for murder as revenge for her infidelity. This defense drew on her blog, which painted a convenient picture of a marriage in decline and a wife in fear for her life. But this fictional defense could not hope to counter physical evidence. And Fotis was lacking in sympathy. He already had another girlfriend living with him, Anna Curry. Michelle was turning on him, as the public was too, and when he was indicted for murder in January 2020, Anna paid for some of his bond, but the rest of it was raised against properties he did not actually own. On January 28th, Fotis realized he was likely to be taken back to jail, where he would remain until the trial, which was not looking positive. It might have been his last day of freedom. Maybe that's why he did what he did next.
Update on Fotis Doulos, who was reportedly found unresponsive at his home earlier today.
That morning, Fotis had sent Anna out on an errand. Then he sat in his car with a hose attached to the exhaust pipe, having written a suicide note. He wrote, "If you are reading this, I am no more. I refuse to spend even an hour in jail for something I had nothing to do with. Enough is enough. If it takes my head to end this, so be it." Paramedics managed to resuscitate him, but he died 2 days later in hospital. Some of Jennifer's friends viewed this as justice. Others saw it as a cowardly escape from closure and consequences. But Michelle remained alive and had also been indicted in January, alongside Fotis's former attorney, Kent Mawhinney, who'd been mentioned in both alibis.
Wow.
6 days before Jennifer's disappearance, 2 members of Kent's gun club had stumbled upon a hole in the woods behind the club. It was 2 feet wide, 6 feet long, and 3 feet deep, the shape of a grave. There were 2 unopened bags of lime in it. Lime can be used to decompose a body. When they came back to investigate 4 days later, 2 days before Jennifer went missing, the lime was gone. No remains were found in that area when the police searched it. Kent faces other charges against his own wife, and his trial date in the case has not yet been set. But Michelle was tried in January 2024, and in March, she was found guilty of all 6 counts. She was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder, 2 counts of conspiracy to tamper with physical evidence, 2 counts of tampering with physical evidence, and 1 count of second-degree hindering prosecution. That Michelle was convicted of murder without a weapon or a body shows the strength of the prosecution's case and the certainty of the jury that she did it. What are your thoughts on this tragic story? Did Jennifer's case result in justice? Until next time, stay safe, keep up with our channel, and we will see you very soon.
That was a good one, y'all. Shameless plug. He says, stay safe. I'm saying stay alive, don't get murdered. Link is in the description. Say it with your chest. It's also running at the bottom of the screen. Next case up. We got a crazy one, y'all. This one's crazy. I didn't know what to think about it, so we're going to discover it together. It says, TikToker pretends to be 14, acts innocent in court. It's crazy.
She danced in that TikTok video like she was just another teenage girl, kicking her legs up in a public bathroom, posing for the camera with that carefree smile. A 23-year-old woman deceived everyone by posing as a teenager. She fooled parents and convinced young males. She danced her way into their lives with carefully crafted lies. It was all performance, leading to serious criminal charges involving young people. Then came the moment in court that stopped her dancing forever. This is the chilling case of a TikToker who thought she could pose as 14 to cover up a deceptive scheme, a deception so calculated it turned social media into her personal hunting ground. And wait until you hear what the judge said when she finally saw through the act. This is Alyssa Zinger, and this is how her twisted TikTok performance led to one of Florida's most disturbing online predator cases. If you're new to this case, brace yourselves, because what you're about to witness will show you how a simple dance app became a tool for criminal deception. But before we dive into the calculated planning of Alyssa Zinger and the charges that shocked Tampa, make sure to subscribe to Women of Crime. We uncover the most disturbing female criminal cases that mainstream media won't touch, and this is just the beginning. To understand what happened in that Hillsborough County courtroom, you need to know how this 23-year-old baker turned her TikTok account into a deceptive tool to connect with young people. Alyssa Zinger lived a double life that would make any parent's worst nightmare come true. By day, she worked at a grocery store bakery in Tampa, Florida. Ordinary, unremarkable, the kind of young woman you'd see frosting cakes and taking orders without a second thought. But by night, she transformed into something far more sinister. Armed with nothing more than a smartphone and social media apps, she crafted an elaborate teenage persona designed to gain illegal access to young people. The preparation was meticulous. She studied how these individuals talked, typed, and behaved online. She learned their slang, their interests, their patterns. She created the perfect digital mask that would fool not just the young people she targeted, but their parents too. And then she began her search. Her platform was TikTok, where millions of her targets scroll through endless videos every day. But Alyssa wasn't there to watch dances or comedy skits. She was there to identify targets for criminal activity. The first victim thought he was talking to a peer. She found him on TikTok in January 2023 and quickly moved their conversations to Snapchat, a platform where messages disappear, making it harder for parents to monitor. She adopted a false identity as a peer, showing interest in his life and personal details. Using sophisticated deception tactics, she maintained this ruse over an extended period. Police testimony indicates these meetings occurred approximately 30 times, during which the individual believed the relationship was genuine. But here's where the story takes an even darker turn, and this detail will shock you when you understand its full implications later. While this criminal activity was happening, Alyssa was already targeting other individuals. She wasn't satisfied with one victim. She was building a network. By May 2023, she had moved on to a second individual and thought he was in a social relationship with a peer. The pattern was identical, but this time she took the deception further. She deceived not only the individual, but also his family. She appeared in social situations with this person, being welcomed by the family as their son's friend, completely unaware of her true identity. This association lasted from May through October 2023, cloaked behind a facade of friendship and social connection. But remember that timeline, October 2023. That's when everything started to unravel, and the reason why will make your blood run cold. During all of this, investigators would later discover Alyssa was documenting these encounters illegally. She was creating prohibited material. She was building a digital collection of unlawful content. But the most troubling part was her intent with this material. When this second victim decided to end their relationship in October, Alyssa's carefully constructed world began to crumble, and her reaction revealed the true monster hiding behind the teenage mask. The power dynamic she had so carefully crafted was slipping away. So she decided to destroy him. Remember that detail about her recording encounters? Here's where it becomes crucial. After their breakup, Alyssa went to the boy's house under the pretense of needing to charge her phone. While he was in another room, she went through his personal device and found something that would become her weapon of revenge. Evidence was discovered that led to additional charges. According to testimony, material was distributed without permission to multiple parties through Snapchat. This became a public humiliation campaign that would ultimately lead to her downfall. But here's what she didn't expect. When the female victim in that video discovered that her most private moment was being circulated among her classmates, she didn't suffer in silence. She went to the police. October 2023, a teenage girl walks into a Tampa police station and reports that someone named Alyssa Zinger is distributing material featuring her. That single act of courage would expose everything. Detective Amanda Baranowski took the case and began what would become one of Tampa's most disturbing investigations into online predation. She couldn't find any record of a 14-year-old girl by that name in the school system. No enrollment records, no academic history, nothing that would verify the existence of the homeschooled teenager the victims described. But there was a 22-year-old Alyssa Zinger in the system, and that's when the pieces started falling into place. The investigation revealed something that would make any parent's blood run cold. This wasn't a one-time incident. This wasn't a mistake or a moment of poor judgment. This was a systematic pattern of criminal deception that had been going on for almost a year. As Detective Baranowski dug deeper, she discovered that Alyssa Zinger had been targeting multiple young people simultaneously. While engaged in illegal activity with one victim, she was manipulating others. While she was in a relationship with one individual, she was already searching for the next target. She was specifically targeting young people who knew each other. She was systematically working through a network of individuals using her relationships with some to gain access to others. And the most disturbing part? Some of these young people had no idea they were all victims of the same individual with criminal intent. When Detective Baranowski interviewed the first victim who came forward, the details he shared painted a picture of systematic psychological manipulation that went far beyond simple deception. The boy described how Alyssa would become aggressive when upset, how she would threaten him, how she would try to control his relationships with others. He told police that she had threatened to have him jumped by high schoolers when he tried to break up with her. But keep this detail in mind. Even in her threats, she maintained the fiction that she was a teenager with teenage connections. The psychological profile that emerged was chilling. Here was an adult woman who had so completely immersed herself in the world of middle school students that she could navigate their social dynamics, understand their fears, and manipulate their emotions with surgical precision. She knew exactly what to say to convince parents that she was just another teenager. She understood social relationship patterns and used this knowledge for deception. According to court testimony, her actions involved calculated criminal conduct, but the investigation also uncovered something else that would shock investigators, evidence of an earlier encounter that revealed just how long Alyssa had been perfecting her deception. In July 2023, months before the case broke open, Alyssa Zinger and one of her victims had been detained for shoplifting at a Nordstrom store. The body camera footage from that incident provides a chilling glimpse into how skilled she had become at maintaining her teenage persona even under pressure. The footage shows a young woman sitting in a holding area with what appears to be a teenage boy. But listen carefully to the conversation, and you'll hear something that should have been a massive red flag.
So this girlfriend not your daughter? Okay. Have you contacted your parents?
Yeah, but I can't get a hold of her.
Okay. Well, I gotta try to contact them. Because how old are you? 14.
The officer then asks about contacting her parents, and she plays the role perfectly. She's nervous but not panicked. She's convincing enough that the officer believes her story completely. But then comes the moment that reveals just how prepared she was for these situations. When the officer runs her name and finds a 22-year-old Alyssa Zinger in the system, he asks about the discrepancy. Without missing a beat, she provides an explanation that's both believable and impossible to immediately verify.
You have a sister named Alyssa?
Yeah, a half sister.
A half sister?
Yeah.
Okay, but you don't have the same middle name, I'm assuming?
I don't have anyone else. My parents are on one head.
I'm going to document that you're going home with them.
Watch how she handles this moment. She doesn't panic. She doesn't stumble over her words. She provides just enough detail to be convincing, but not so much that it becomes suspicious. This is someone who had practiced this scenario, who had thought through exactly what she would say if questioned about her identity. The officer buys it completely. He documents that she's going home with the boy and his father, and they're released. But listen to what happens next in that footage, because it reveals something crucial about the family dynamics that enabled these crimes.
Alright, so Alyssa, you're gonna go home with... Do you have any questions? No? We're not gonna do this again? Sure? Dad told me you make money. And you could spend $100. Alright? Alright, man, this is one shot. You get one shot to do this program. After this, there's no more. So, let's just make smart choices, okay? Alright, take care.
The most chilling part of this footage is how comfortable Alyssa appears in this environment. She's not nervous about being caught in a lie. She's not worried about maintaining her cover story. She's completely at ease pretending to be a teenager in front of adults and police officers. This wasn't her first time doing this. Remember this detail about her comfort level. It becomes crucial when you see how she behaves during later police encounters. When Tampa police executed their first search warrant at the Zinger family home in November 2023, the body camera footage captured a family in crisis, but not in the way you might expect. The footage begins with officers explaining to Alyssa's parents that they need to search the house and seize her phone, but from the very first moments, it's clear that this family has a very different understanding of what's happening than the police do.
The detective said nobody can go in the house.
Okay.
So
that's weird because I talked to my lawyer and he says you guys aren't under arrest. You guys aren't.
There's a search warrant for that. She told me she got a search warrant and nobody's allowed in the house.
For the phone or for my home?
Nobody's allowed in the house.
Who's in the house?
Watch this interaction carefully because it reveals something important about how this family was handling the investigation. They're not acting like parents who have just discovered their daughter is accused of terrible crimes. They're acting like people who are managing a legal problem.
We're not in the chase. We're not running, so.
But that's where we're at. I know it sucks.
This situation sucks. Me not going in my home right now, that's the least of my worries. I got a beautiful young daughter that's in this is going to be happening. She's got a lot of problems and mental issues and stuff, and it just sucks that, I don't know if you have kids, but...
Yeah, we have 2 kids. I have 2 kids, yeah.
Notice what he's doing here. He's immediately setting up the narrative that will later become her defense strategy. She has problems and developmental issues. This shouldn't be happening. He presents her as a victim rather than acknowledging the criminal charges against her.
I'm sorry to hear that, by the way.
I mean, she got messed up with the wrong... even though he's a lot younger, he is... Put it this way. My daughter, my wife works for the federal government. 38 years, never been in trouble in her life, not a single thing. My daughter, the same thing. Me, stupid little shit when I was a kid. But we're good, honest people, hardworking people, and she just she's never been in trouble in her life, even though he's young. That's why we're in this situation. She never been in trouble in her life until she was 38. And this like insane.
The father's characterization of normal teenage behavior was contradicted by investigators. He's painting his adult daughter as an innocent victim in this situation. The complete inversion of reality here is breathtaking. But what's even more disturbing is how rehearsed this sounds. This isn't a parent struggling to make sense of shocking revelations. This is someone delivering talking points. When the detective arrives and they enter the house to search for the phone, the interaction becomes even more revealing. The phone they're looking for appears to be dead, and there's some confusion about whether it can be charged and accessed. But listen to how the father handles this situation.
When they came in to look for that phone, there was an iPad and a phone on the table. I looked at it, and she goes, "Is that the phone?" I said, "I do believe so." I say, "This is her phone here." Ha ha ha. No. I handed her the phone and said, "I do believe it." And I even said, if you watch the body cam, I said, "What model is this? I'm not sure." I got like a freaking 8, you know?
He's being very careful to establish that he's not entirely certain about the phone, that he's cooperating but not taking responsibility for providing the correct device. This isn't the behavior of someone who's simply trying to help the investigation.
Right.
But then he says something that reveals the true mindset behind this cooperation.
Trying to be manipulative, and in fact, tell me this: if someone's trying to hide something, the phone was dead. I said, "You want to take your phone and leave?" Which is what I could have said if I was not trying to work with you people. But what did I say? I bet you watched the cam. I said, "Ma'am, there's a charger right there. Go ahead and charge the phone."
Notice how he's trying to paint himself as helpful, while simultaneously establishing that he could have been obstructive if he wanted to. The investigation would later reveal that this phone wasn't actually Alyssa's device at all. It was her mother's old phone, one that hadn't been used for calls since 2021 and had never had social media apps installed on it. When confronted about this discrepancy during later searches, the family would claim that Alyssa's real phone had been lost, but the body camera footage from this first search suggests that the phone switch wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate. Keep this detail about the phone deception in mind, because it becomes crucial when you understand how far this family was willing to go to protect Alyssa from the consequences of her crimes. During the same search, there's another moment that reveals the psychological dynamics at play in this family. The father becomes emotional and says something that shows how completely they've reframed this situation in their minds.
You can say one good thing that's come out of this: we got our family back. You know, we finally got our daughter back. Where she plays with us and watches TV. She hangs out with us now. but she won't have a phone ever again.
Think about what he's saying here. The father described the arrest as bringing positive changes to their family. This response pattern may reflect complex family dynamics when dealing with legal challenges. They're not seeing Alyssa as someone who committed serious criminal acts. The defendant faces serious charges. They're seeing her as someone who got in trouble and needs protection. But the most disturbing part of this footage isn't what the parents say, it's what Alyssa doesn't say. Throughout this entire interaction, she's largely silent. She lets her parents do the talking, make the excuses, provide the explanations. She's comfortable allowing others to manage the consequences of her actions. When police returned to the Zinger home in January 2024 to execute a second search warrant, this time to photograph Alyssa's bedroom, the family dynamics became even clearer. The body camera footage from this search shows a family that has had months to process what's happening, but their response reveals that nothing has fundamentally changed in how they view the situation. The officer explains to the family what they're going to do.
Our crime scene picture, whenever she gets here, we're going to go through the house. And we'll take pictures and document and stuff like that. And she'll also get a copy of, or she'll get a copy of the search warrant to take pictures and document that too, which I'll go ahead and just kind of review this with you now, okay? Are they going to post these pictures now?
They don't post your pictures. This is for their investigation.
Okay, well,
There's nothing to be anybody's business. That's nobody's business.
Even facing serious criminal charges, even months into an investigation, her primary concern is still about her privacy and reputation. There's no indication of concern for her victims, no sign that she understands the gravity of what she's done.
They just got to do their job. They got to take pictures of what they need to do. And I think you guys should leave.
I can't.
Well, I mean,
they've surrounded the whole car. Like, I really can.
I don't think they meant it like that.
Well, there's 5 cars, so how do I back out?
Later in the same footage, she makes a comment that reveals her complete lack of understanding about the seriousness of her situation.
I feel like I'm a murderer.
They got to protect. They don't know who here. They got to protect themselves. This is a crazy world. People are mental. They got issues. There's men probably out there that would do something stupid. You know what I mean? They got to protect themselves. You know what I mean?
But Alyssa's complaint reveals how she sees herself in this situation. In her mind, she's not a serious criminal who poses a threat. She's someone who's been caught in an embarrassing situation and is being treated unfairly. This mindset would persist throughout the legal proceedings and would ultimately contribute to her downfall in court. At one point, while police are working in another part of the house, you can hear Alyssa and her mother discussing the situation.
Did they hear it collapse? They all...
What, in her bedroom they do that?
They all broken, and that's heavy.
I think their main focus is her.
Did it collapse? Yeah, they hear it in my room, not that.
That's what they're worried about. Hey, they're doing their job. A lot of crazy people out there. So, and a lot of people don't like police, you know? But that's not us. You know, like I said, we back you guys 100%. That's for sure. We have friends. And
yeah, you're friends with a lot of police.
I have a lot of friends that are police, and we are firefighters. And
he's trying to establish that they're good people who support law enforcement, as if this somehow changes the nature of what Alyssa has done. This kind of appeal to respectability is common among families dealing with serious criminal charges, but it reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of how the justice system works. Your relationships with police officers don't change the evidence against you, but this family seems to believe that their social standing should somehow protect them from consequences. This mindset would prove to be a significant liability when they appeared in court, because it suggested they didn't fully grasp the seriousness of the charges or the strength of the evidence against Alyssa. The final piece of body camera footage that provides crucial insight into this case comes from a conversation that was captured when the family didn't realize they were still being recorded. When Alyssa finally appeared in court for her bond hearing in April 2024, the contrast between her behavior in the body camera footage and her courtroom demeanor was striking. Judge Laura Ward presided over the hearing, and her observations about Alyssa's behavior would become some of the most quoted moments in the entire case.
Every time something happens that the state puts on that maybe you disagree with, you shake your head no. You don't seem to understand that the problem is not who recorded the video. The problem is you are in multiple videos with young boys. You are an adult. You are the problem here. Your actions on these boys are illegal, and it's not okay. Whether they took the video or you took the video, you are the only adult.
After countless hours of manipulation and deception, a judge stated the simple, devastating truth. Alyssa Zinger was an adult who knowingly deceived young people. Everything else was just noise, but the hearing also revealed something else that would shock the community. Prosecutors argued that Alyssa's parents had helped her cover up her crimes. During the hearing, prosecutors presented evidence that the phone provided during the first search warrant hadn't just been the wrong device by accident. They argued that it had been deliberately provided to obstruct the investigation. Judge Ward addressed this directly.
What I can't understand is when they are trying to help you to the extent that it interferes with a criminal investigation and to the extent that it helps you evade accountability and responsibility.
Body camera video was shown in court depicting the moment when Alyssa's father handed over what he claimed was her phone.
Golden Ground,
The footage
straight
clearly
up.
showed him presenting the device as belonging to his daughter, not mentioning that it might be the wrong phone. When the real phone was never produced and the family claimed it was lost, prosecutors argued this was evidence of deliberate obstruction. The implications were clear. This wasn't just about one woman's crimes. This was about a family system that had enabled and protected a predator even after her crimes were exposed. The defense team's strategy during the bond hearing revealed their plan for the upcoming trial, and it followed a predictable pattern. Blame everyone except Alyssa. Her attorney argued that Alyssa had developmental delays and emotional issues stemming from childhood bullying. They pointed to an individualized education plan from her high school years as evidence of these delays.
I think it's clear from just the content of the text messages, this is not a 22-year-old adult having communication with somebody who she saw as her equal.
But prosecutors had a devastating response to this claim. They pointed out that there was no evidence of any developmental delays in Alyssa's school records beyond the IEP, which can be created for a variety of learning differences that don't affect someone's ability to understand right from wrong. More importantly, they argued, Alyssa's behavior showed clear evidence of sophisticated planning and deception that contradicted any claim of diminished capacity. She had maintained elaborate lies across multiple relationships for months. She had navigated complex social media platforms and understood exactly how to manipulate others' emotions. Most tellingly, when caught shoplifting months earlier, she had immediately created a believable lie about having a half-sister with the same name, a lie that was sophisticated enough to fool police officers. The prosecutor was direct in rejecting the defense's argument.
This is not a 22-year-old child. They would argue there are no conditions of release reasonably sufficient to protect the community from the risk of physical harms to persons, and specifically to male individuals under the age of 18.
Judge Ward agreed, but her reasoning went beyond just the risk of reoffending. Her comments suggested that she was troubled by Alyssa's apparent lack of understanding about what she had done wrong.
You showed no regard for the safety of these young boys.
The bond hearing also included testimony from Detective Amanda Baranowski, who provided additional details about the scope of Alyssa's crimes that hadn't been previously revealed. Detective Baranowski testified that the investigation had uncovered evidence of illegal encounters with victims on multiple occasions, sometimes within days of first meeting them. This testimony was crucial because it showed that the defendant was moving quickly to criminal activity, contradicting the defense's claims about her mental capacity. Detective Baranowski also testified about the evidence they had recovered, including text messages and videos that showed Alyssa claiming to be a teenager while clearly demonstrating adult knowledge and sophistication.
He indicated that a video of himself was being circulated through Snapchat.
Did he know who was doing it?
Yes.
Who was that?
He identified the person as Miss Alyssa Zinger.
According to the detective, when confronted about the video distribution, Alyssa didn't show remorse or understanding about the harm she had caused. Instead, she seemed more concerned about the consequences for herself. This lack of empathy for her victims would become a recurring theme throughout the legal proceedings and would ultimately influence the judge's decision about bond. The hearing also revealed new details about the scope of the investigation and the possibility of additional victims. Detective Baranowski testified that investigators were still working to identify all of Alyssa's potential victims, and that they believed there could be more victims who hadn't yet come forward.
This case represents only one of the multiple juvenile male victims that Ms. Zinger was not only contacting and having messages with through social media, but also meeting and having actual contact with.
The possibility of additional victims was particularly troubling given the pattern that had already emerged. The bond hearing concluded with Judge Ward making it clear that she viewed Alyssa as an ongoing threat to the community.
You've been preying upon them. You have been taking advantage of them. You have been abusing them.
With those words, the judge effectively ended any pretense that this case was about anything other than an adult who had systematically exploited young people through criminal deception. Judge Ward also addressed the family's role in the case, though she stopped short of announcing any charges against Alyssa's parents. When asked directly whether criminal charges against the parents were possible, prosecutors declined to answer, saying only that the investigation was ongoing. The bond hearing ended with Alyssa being ordered to remain in jail without the possibility of bond until her trial. She was also ordered to have no contact with any of the alleged victims and no access to electronics. The aftermath of the bond hearing revealed just how much impact Alyssa's actions had on the victims and their families. According to court documents and police interviews, the psychological impact on the individuals subjected to her criminal activity went far beyond the immediate trauma. These individuals had to grapple with the realization that someone they trusted, someone they believed was a peer, had been systematically deceiving and manipulating them. One victim told police that the relationship with Alyssa had been stressful and was ruining his grades, making his life hard. He described feeling like he couldn't escape it because she was always trying to talk to someone. But the psychological manipulation went deeper than just the criminal activity itself. This individual also told police that Alyssa had dated 4 others at his school to try and make him upset, and that she always tries to be involved in everyone's affairs, especially his. He had no idea that all of these relationships were actually an adult criminal systematically targeting his classmates and friends through illegal activity. The isolation and confusion these victims experienced is difficult to comprehend. They couldn't talk to their friends about what was happening because some of those friends were also victims. They couldn't seek help from adults because they believed they were in normal relationships. And when the truth finally came out, they had to deal with the additional trauma of realizing that their understanding of relationships, trust, and intimacy had been built on elaborate lies. According to victim testimony, she had learned to mimic not just teenage speech patterns and interests, but teenage emotional responses as well. One victim described her behavior in terms that sound like a teenager having emotional outbursts. She also has a crazy ego when she is mad. She talks like she is invincible, and no one can stop her. The defendant thinks she has all of the power in the world. This description suggests that Alyssa's teenage emotional responses were actually carefully crafted performances designed to maintain her cover while asserting control over her victims. The victim also described a pattern of emotional manipulation that showed Alyssa's understanding of how to control relationships. There will be instant texting, crying, screaming that she hates him, etc. After, she will be apologizing to him. She is all over the place and never in control. This cycle of emotional extremes, anger, rejection, reconciliation, is a classic pattern of psychological abuse. When used by an adult and disguised as teenage drama, it becomes a particularly calculated form of manipulation. The victim's description of feeling trapped in this relationship shows how effective these tactics were. When Alyssa took the stand in her own defense, the strategy backfired spectacularly. She was articulate, responsive, and demonstrated clear understanding, completely contradicting every claim about her mental capacity. She danced in that TikTok.
Damn. She's a scumbag, man. She's real messed up, man. I got another one real quick, though. Deadly stalker plot. A Colorado man was sentenced to life in prison after he spent months pretending his wife's stalker before offing her. This is a good one.
Wife, Christelle Krug, beaten and stabbed to death. Next, we catch up with that concerned husband as he arrives at the scene. Police identify the man, seen here, as 44-year-old Daniel Krug, the victim's spouse of over 20 years.
For you, buddy, right? Gotta cry.
Let's rewind about a month earlier, when the victim alerted authorities about an alleged longtime stalker, who she says recently cranked up the heat.
All right. When did he pop back up?
So, first text message was back in October.
Okay.
Just threats.
And just out of nowhere? Just
He
popped
does
back?
this. He does
Okay.
this, and he's been doing it for over 20 years.
Okay. So this is, so...
This is the first time it's this violent and
Okay.
aggressive. Normally it's, hey, how's it going?
Okay.
So, the last contact was, I'm guessing, more than 5 years ago, just because it was I had a Facebook account at the time, and I don't have that, and haven't had it since pre-pandemic, so.
Okay.
Easily, like, wonder how many years before that. Yeah, no, completely out of the blue, and I'm not engaging at all, so there's absolutely no response from me.
Okay.
And he's still going. The in-person stuff that's scaring the crap out of me, my logos was starting since last Tuesday, and it's been almost every day since.
Okay.
I've gotten a few days break.
And it's always been text message, or has it been...
And emails.
Email, okay.
And he's changing his phone number every single time he text messages me too.
Christelle explains that an ex-boyfriend from over 2 decades ago, who she says has periodically contacted her over the years, suddenly popped up again. But this time, things were different. The soon-to-be victim describes explicit text messages and emails that grew to be threatening in nature, alongside inappropriate pictures too graphic to show. Next, investigators invite the couple to the police station to get more details on the alleged stalking, after they said a cryptic photo of Daniel heading into work was sent to Christelle's email.
So anyway, that made me go, is this his number? Where is he right now? What kind of car is he? Like this was alarming. He's never said this kind of stuff to me before, so whatever. And the fact that it went so emotional is like something's really wrong here. Then things go dark, right? And this is when I then contact you guys, because this now is escalating. This is not just threats against me, it's threats against my husband. He contacts me, and you'll see in my little log that this is an email address he contacts me now from more frequently. He actually reuses it. But he is now showing that picture that day. There's snow on the ground. My husband had only gone into work on that Tuesday for Halloween.
Okay. I'm guessing that it was creepy, but not real. No, but lots of people are jerks online, sure. Other than that, I'm sure she has mentioned to you that she and I go through a rough patch, kind of on the rocks. So probably didn't seem that pressing until it was.
Daniel made some disturbing comments, calling the alleged stalking, quote, creepy and not real, before revealing his marriage was, quote, on the rocks.
Fortunately, even though my husband has a camera in his car, he did not see anybody.
Sure.
And then unfortunately lost all the video because he didn't save it. So
She didn't want me to panic, so she didn't share all of the details of the log. And so as I got all of the details, my panic level has gone considerably higher. Not now, because I'm in a police station. Sure. And honestly, this is the safest I've felt since Monday at lunch.
So anyway, just a lot of like very sexually explicit, very graphic, very just like poke the bear kind of thing. And then trying to prove to me that he can follow us.
Yeah. I went to the grocery store briefly on Tuesday, and someone behind me dropped a can. I panicked.
My husband did see these, like definitely this message, so he very much still remembers that if you ever need someone to corroborate that they saw it, but I don't know how credible of a witness someone that my husband would be, but...
yes and no. But
yeah.
So what am I doing? I'm panicking. And I'm doing a shit job of protecting my wife. As bad as I am, I care more about her safety. Yeah. Well, I understand that 100%. I'm sorry for this. Wear a mask around the kids. Absolutely. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, like, because this is now like so distracting and so constant, and it just like anytime my phone buzzes, I'm just like, I don't know what's coming my direction.
That takes us back to December, where Daniel is caught on a surveillance camera, casually walking into work and waving at a security guard, moments before calling police.
Broomfield Dispatcher's meeting.
Hi there. My name is Dan Krug. I don't think this is an emergency, but this feels really weird.
Okay.
My wife isn't responding to text messages or phone calls.
Okay.
And we've had threats against us. We have both been targeted by a stalker.
Okay.
Threats have been made against my life.
Okay.
And threatening to like kidnap her, which is why I'm nervous that she's not answering me.
Yeah, I understand.
What?
I didn't protect her. I was supposed to protect her.
Daniel is escorted to the police station, where detectives have plenty of questions for him.
Down. He get an F for effort. He is terrible.
Call police. Conversion call police. Did what you said. I didn't protect her.
This dude is terrible.
I was never her. She was rushing me out the door. I was injured. I was leaving. She told me I had to go because she had a meeting. She was rushing me, and
yeah, he way
I went. She was
Sonic.
She sent tissue, but she texted me asking me to pick up. So I canceled or skipped my CFO meeting. So I and I left her for this.
And you couldn't get a hold of her. She sent you that text. And that's as much contact as you had with her today.
And I panicked when we
Not the handshake.
the check marks weren't there.
Oh, the bewilderedness. He's so bewildered. Discombobulated.
Daniel tells his initial story to investigators, saying his wife allegedly rushed him out the door before texting him about the kids shortly before the attack. Prosecutors would later allege that Daniel sent himself the message from his wife's phone in a suspected alibi attempt. That's when he said he noticed she hadn't read the text and panicked before calling police and a neighbor.
And you mentioned earlier that she didn't tell you about something kicks. Which one was that? Kickman. That's what we call a sucker. Doesn't deserve. Okay, and Midge came up with Kickman because Yeah, I remember him in a couple of days going to kick his ass.
Daniel now explains the family nicknamed the alleged stalker Kickman before one detective decides it's time to read him his rights. Let's see what he has to say.
We just now need to talk about your rights so we can proceed with getting the answers that we both want. Yeah.
Right.
I have two different voices going through my head right now. I have my brother. Yeah, I've mentioned him. He's the sheriff's lieutenant. And I have his voice saying, talk to the police. And in typical cop fashion, he married a prosecutor. So I had Lynn's voice in my head going, get a lawyer.
Daniel ultimately agrees to talk, for now, but one detective digs in for further details.
I just want to... What caused the, I guess, anxiety or panic as to why it was so concerning that she didn't respond?
It was a really specific question about a time impacting the kids.
Uh-oh.
That's something she will always respond right away on. And then, other than that,
Talking too much.
that was enough for me. That felt weird. It hurt me that she didn't tell me about the stalker when it started, but she brought me in right away once he sent her a picture of me. And at that point, she brought me fully up to speed, and I saw the horrible
got a
messages. I
little
saw
Will and Grace
the
type vibe,
ad,
though, for real.
all that crap. And that's when she and I started working on game plans. Again, you know, what do we do to protect family, to protect the kids? You know, define your threat level. She had a gun. She was armed.
What?
I don't want lethal items. We didn't let each other kind of be alone anywhere. Had to take dogs for walks.
Well, you let her
we would do that
on
together.
that time,
So it almost sounds like all this kind of maybe even brought you guys closer, not maybe emotionally closer, but you guys were physically sort of working on things besides your kids.
There was a
mutual.
Maurice, what up?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I'm here.
Over the course of November, there was a better team feel.
Okay.
You know, respond to crisis.
Right.
And I told her at that point, I told her I didn't want to die for someone who didn't care about me anymore.
This dude needs to just shut up.
That's really hard.
He's making me sick right now.
And I told her I wanted a divorce.
This guy.
And how did she take that?
Angry. Obviously. Mostly anger that I said it now, with everything else going on. So she said she didn't want to talk about it until all of this was done. And then he got quiet, and we just kind of sat in that. I want a divorce.
Okay.
What?
I've loved you for 12 years.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I was hurting when I said that, and what I wanted was her to say she cared about me.
This dude is killing me with the theatrics.
What's his
man.
name? The other detective said that the cameras were turned off. That shouldn't happen. The only way that the cameras can be turned off is through the app. One of us has to hit the button.
According to an arrest affidavit, multiple home surveillance cameras were not recording at the time of the incident, while another was found covered in blue painter's tape.
He said they were turned off. And one of them looks like it has something on it.
What?
So, in my brain, I'm thinking someone made a move against her. So in my brain, the story that I have is someone came to the door. Maybe she went outside to get a package, and they must have come in.
Vic, what up?
And she's a fighter. She's strong. She would have fought.
And why do you say that? Have you guys fought before, or you just know it all? Okay.
I know her.
Okay.
She refuses to be a victim. I know her.
Okay. So, I mean, who do you think killed her?
I think it's Kikman. I think it's...
Okay.
I'm sorry, if we somebody really said that sentence.
I'm sorry that. Well, that's what happened, and that's why we're taking this so seriously.
Now, Daniel again points the finger at the alleged stalker when investigators reveal some conflicting information.
What if I told you that we had already spoken with him? There's no way that he was in town today. I have nothing. And I'm terrified to bring my children home. The Gmail account, the Kickman account that you guys initially received with the photo of you in it, and the phone number, those originated through their IP addresses at your office. Doesn't make any sense. Well, he took the photo of me at my office. Right. Well, both of those accounts originated from IP addresses that was back to your office. I don't know what to do with that. There are Wi-Fi access throughout the facility for employees, and there's public Wi-Fi access throughout the entire facility. And we literally post the passwords in every single meeting room.
Okay.
Okay. Because I guess the biggest concern is just the timing of everything, that it just doesn't quite make sense to have somebody create an account, take a photo, and then immediately send it off, and then the account is no longer being used. None of this makes any sense. Things are certainly pointing in one direction right now. So I'm going to throw this idea out there. Wait. You know
idea out there.
he has reached out to her in the past, a number of times. She's been very open about that, yes. Right. The last time was 2016-ish. He had asked her at one point if she wanted to have sex. I think he's approached her multiple times. Right. So this next time, if there's any bit of question about infidelity, whether it's with or anybody else, we might create an account to see if we can create a facade, or see if Christine's actually interested in it. So we ask her and push the bounds a little bit and see if that will confirm our suspicions of infidelity. You don't get the response and the openness you once did for about 28 days, from October 2nd to October 31st. So you amp it up a little bit. Send a photo of yourself to her, an account you created. See what her response is.
Maybe this started out the way that it was recorded, and then maybe it turned into something.
What?
Maybe.
Is that would suggest that I would put my children for this.
What?
I think ultimately what happened today would bring you the closest to your children that you've probably ever been in your mind.
There has to be someone
that was able to turn off the cameras, that was able to access a password-protected system to turn off cameras, that was able to use your IP address from your work to create accounts, to send messages and photos, to act as a stalking suspect. Well, tell me. Help me make sense of it.
I'm not the one who does this. I'm analytical at work, and I read and write fiction at home. I don't do
what?
I don't do crime drama. What I know what it is if you're adamant that it's not Kickman, then there has to be something else. Kickman is 6.5 hour drive from here. There's no way you could have made that drive. If you flew, we would have record of that doesn't show up on any sort of flight record through the FBI, DEA, Homeland Security, anything like that. And then, in fact, he was contacted in his house, severely intoxicated.
Let's join officers more than 8 hours away in Eagle Mountain, Utah, where they catch up with the man who Daniel claimed to be responsible for the crime.
I'm going to ask you a couple of names to see if you recognize any names. Okay. Have you ever heard of the name Crystal Krug? She may have been Grimsrod when you knew her.
Yeah.
And do you know a Daniel Krug?
No.
No? How do you know Crystal?
She was an ex-girlfriend.
She's an ex-girlfriend? How long's ex? Like how long ago?
1999.
Oh, so like a long while ago.
She was my very first girlfriend ever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When's the last time you talked to Crystal? Has it been a minute?
It's been a minute, yeah.
Like since you moved from...
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would have been what, back in 2014?
Yeah.
The ex was definitively ruled out after investigators said he had a verified alibi and no evidence to show he had traveled.
All this time that we've been looking for him for the protection order, and you just found him today, like that. Because I've been looking at you, but I've been waiting for these records to come back.
We've been chasing the wrong dog.
Am I under arrest? Is it?
Yeah, you're going down.
It sounds
buddy.
like you're accusing me.
Sounds like you're accusing
We have a lot of information that points your direction, and we're hoping that you could provide a legitimate explanation other than it wasn't me. We have publicly available internet.
Say if we told you that other people you talked to that are close to your wife expressed that she had, maybe you told them that she suspected you of having...
She said that right to my face. That she wanted to know if it was me. And I told her no.
But why would she suspect that? I don't understand how we take the leap from we haven't had a romantic relationship for a long time in our marriage to I suspect my husband is pretending to be my stalker. How does that happen? There's a missing explanation in there. There's a missing piece to that. I'd like to know what happened this morning. I'd like to know
Me too.
what caused you to get so upset to hurt your wife, because I believe that's what happened. I believe that you've been because there's no other logical explanation.
I want to know what happened.
Give it up,
Did
dude.
she fight? Did she get shots at all? Where was she in the house? So tell me. Did she fight?
He is making me.
Did she
Oh
get
my
shots
God! I just want to stop this right
Where
now.
is she in the house? We haven't been there to know. And there's only one person in this room that can tell us.
This guy.
Detective Kim Sullivan and I have been here with you.
I think you know the answer to all those questions. I think you got confirmation or found out that she had a boyfriend this morning, or something happened that pissed you off, and you did something that you regret now because you can't go back, and you can't go back to stalking her secretly, or pretending to be her stalker, or making plans, having cooperation with one another, although it's not romantic, having cooperation with one another to fight together against Kickman.
You have your theory. It is wrong. Please find the Bible. Is this the point where on whatever that checklist is, I say, I'll have it for you? Yeah, that's fine.
Daniel asks for an attorney and ends the interview, but it's not long until we hear from him again.
And he came back for more. No. Damn, Daniel.
You don't believe that? Fine. Just don't stop looking elsewhere for something. Okay?
God, he's still trying to play it up.
Are you married? Kids? Divorced?
Down, buddy.
Remind it. I don't care if you capture him. I just want to.
They better tell me he got charges.
You took
I need that. Daniel needs to go down for this terrible performance.
According to the Broomfield District Attorney, Daniel was accused of freeing Chris Steele's ex and carrying out an elaborate plan to cover up his crime. A jury later convicted Daniel of first-degree murder, stalking, and criminal impersonation. He was sentenced to life in prison.
Just as soon as me.
Now I feel much better. After that Rotten Tomatoes performance, I feel much better that he is in a terrible place. That was intense. Because if they would have told me anything, if he would have if that was his walk away scene, I would have been highly pissed off, y'all. Like, I would have been livid at Daniel. Anyway, we gonna check out this 47-year-old grandpa has no idea that he's about to be arrested for murder. Good old murder.
I want to believe you, and you know what else is down Howell Road?
This is 47-year-old John Leonard Bowen Jr. At first, he seemed to have nothing to do with the death of his girlfriend's 18-year-old niece.
No!
But it didn't take long for investigators to uncover the evidence and the path he never chose to leave.
He's not live here because he's not allowed to live here.
Yeah.
Just before noon on Sunday, the 3rd of September 2023, a property owner spotted something disturbing out in the grass at the edge of the field on Southwest Haltiwanger Road, near Lake City in Columbia County, Florida. He immediately called 911. When investigators arrived, they found the body of a young female.
That's 1281, 1078. That's going to be a 10-4.
Back this out.
Can we get him out of here?
He's gonna go that way to get out.
Can you get out that way? Okay. Let's do that. If you go out and then meet me back over here at the dirt road.
Yeah,
Okay.
Is there any other way to get in besides that way? No, man. And nobody comes in that way.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're supposed to be out there. No one comes in this way.
He went forward, but he hadn't.
Yeah. Hey, I walk that side, Swears. I walk that side. And you got all this back down right here. Hear me? Hey, but there's really good tire tracks right here. We can just find out which way he came in. Yeah, but all these right here, all right, those are fresh as can be.
You're gonna have to extend this past that if you can get our guy, because that camera comes that way.
Leave it.
Yep. Make a
Should be able to identify this one. Clear. Can identify this one. Got tattoos and everything. Yeah. I don't know who she is. Looks familiar.
Whoever killed her had tried to make sure she would never be named. Her body had been intentionally burned. They began collecting every piece of physical evidence left on the surrounding ground, including fresh tire tracks pressed into the dirt, leading away from the field. Investigators knew that identifying the victim was their most urgent task. Without a name, they couldn't reconstruct her final hours, or find out who had reason to harm her. And what happened next would open the first door, leading straight to the suspect. As news spread through the community that a body had been discovered in Ellisville, a local family began to panic. 18-year-old Coyote Catherine Cheyenne Turner had disappeared. Her family had been calling her all day, but every call went straight to voicemail. The victim's mother was overwhelmed with grief and fear as the horrifying reality began to settle in.
Hey, do you have Cody's phone number?
My phone's dead.
You know, everything.
We've been trying to call her all day. No one answers. It goes straight to voicemail.
No, y'all been calling it. Is it ringing?
No, it doesn't ring. It goes straight to voicemail.
Straight to voicemail.
Man, my kid would have been over here by now.
And she would have came up there.
What to her?
She would have came to me, or her, or my man. My man's a CO. I'm ex.
What's his name?
Darren Johnson.
I got everything on my phone, but like y'all believe me or not.
No, ma'am.
Man, y'all.
I believe you. I just want to see when the last time you talked to her, that's all. What are you saying? You're not getting in trouble at all.
You haven't said that the last time to me, too. guys know I've been seen. I got cops up here because there's a body that got found this morning. I'm the only one that called about it. So I don't know what's going on yet. I have that call their phone. I've got everybody looking for it. Y'all keep their
This is mine.
I'm going to talk about.
Investigators met with family members, trying to piece together where Coyote had been. It would take 2 days for official testing and records to confirm that the body in the field was indeed 18-year-old Coyote.
Calm down, baby. Calm down.
Why don't you take a break from me? Go be with your family for a few minutes, okay? Go sit down with your sister. Just.
Hey, Jimmy, I know where to go. Come on. Go to Bubba. Okay, man. Can I help you in any way?
If you know of where she's Cody, who she might have been hanging out with, or anything.
AJ was one of them. I don't know his last name.
Is he white or black?
Yeah, so I'm just following up with you, try to understand some stuff. So, Cody, when was the last time she was here?
Not here.
No,
She's never been
here. Okay. And then you're married to Brian now?
Brian Titus, yes.
And then you have an ex-husband?
Yes.
What's his name?
Brian, Leonard Bowen. John Leonard Bowen.
Okay, John Leonard Bowen.
He's been on 349 in here, and my vote.
Okay.
That's all I am.
Okay, so he's not living here, though, at all?
He does not live here because he's not allowed to live here because it's a sex threat.
Yeah.
While gathering background on Coyote's daily routine, investigators quickly realized they were dealing with a tight-knit, complicated social circle. Family members mentioned several names, but one name kept surfacing in the background: John Leonard Bowen Jr., a 47-year-old man who had been married to Coyote's aunt years earlier.
Now, would he have any contact with Coyote?
He knew of her, but he didn't know she was back in town until here recently.
Okay. He didn't know she was back in town?
No, because we kept her hid.
Yeah? Why'd you keep her hid?
Because we didn't want too many people to know that she was back in town.
Okay. So, did he find out when she was back in town?
Not until last night.
Okay. So you talked to him last night?
After I talked to y'all, yes.
Okay. And what did he say about that?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, but he knew her growing up and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I had Coyote, but she was in prison.
Okay.
And I was with him.
Okay. So, you and John and Cody lived together for a while?
For all of them.
Yeah.
I had Yodi, Julia Jr., and their other sister, Allie.
Okay.
Alishani.
You know where we found Cody, right?
Not really. I thought she was on the other side of Ashlands, in the woods over there.
And she's up here off 349.
No, nobody told me that.
Okay. Yeah, she's right up there off 349. Like down a little dirt road off 349.
I know where it's at.
Okay.
Because I used to live right there off the dirt road where the green fence is.
Okay. About where the green fence is? Okay. So...
That's Phil Thomas's fence.
Okay. So that's where Phil Thomas lives.
Uh-huh.
And... Wait, I'm confused. Is John live there? Is he supposed to live there? Or does he stay there? Or what?
No, he don't stay there, as far as I know.
Okay.
He lives in Live Oak with his girlfriend and his...
Before we continue, if you're interested in cases like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, let's get back to the investigation. John had known Coyote since she was a child, and had been a familiar face around the family for nearly a decade. Nobody in the family suspected him of any wrongdoing. In fact, her family viewed him as a longtime friend, who had always been around to help.
Do you think Cody would have called John for anything?
She didn't have his number.
Okay. But she knew him.
Yeah, but she don't have his number.
I mean, yeah, no, I'm just saying she knew him. If she got his number or she saw him somewhere, would she be afraid of him or?
No.
Okay, like they got along?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was trying to understand.
They never
When you said y'all were trying to keep her hidden, I didn't know if there was a reason why you're keeping her hidden from him.
No, everybody, pretty much.
Okay.
She's the one that was slipping out and going, seeing people. We didn't want her to. We tried to keep her out.
Okay. When was the last time you saw? Does he go by John or Leonard?
He was here the night that Nora called me. When y'all.
Last night?
Yeah.
He was here last night?
He was here last night.
What was he doing here?
We were moving a couch.
Okay. Moving it to where?
That one got moved out and a new one got put in.
Oh, okay. So he came over to help you. So even though he's your ex-husband, y'all still get
It
along?
wasn't, yes. We have,
What were you going to say? It wasn't mine? It wasn't, you were going to say something, it wasn't me or something, I cut you off?
it wasn't him, I said, because he was here.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't have been.
Oh, I didn't say it was.
I'm just saying, I'm
just trying to make sure I understand where everybody is and who
well,
everybody
John
is.
Leonard was here from early morning to almost the late night after I left.
Okay. So he was here early Sunday morning. He came
Yes.
here. Okay.
What time?
It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I was with him for 10 years, so yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this.
But here's where the investigation took its first major turn.
Uh-oh.
Underneath Coyote's body, investigators found a piece of discarded mail. The delivery address traced directly to a residence tied to John. That single clue changed the direction of the entire case. The address under the victim's body had never been registered with the state. He was living there unmonitored, off the grid entirely. Investigators immediately checked video records from local businesses near the crime scene. Security footage from a nearby convenience store captured John in the parking lot around the time of the murder, actively changing his clothes near his vehicle before driving away. Let's see what John had to say about these undeniable details.
I'm Sergeant Watson. I work with the Sheriff's Office. You don't mind talking to me, right? Okay. I'm just making sure. So I don't want to put you in any kind of awkward situation. Alright, I know that some of these guys have talked to you too already, but I'm just going to kind of start from the beginning with you. That way I get, I understand it better. Because they tried to tell me, there's 3 different people trying to tell me what you said. Right. I'd rather just hear it from you. So, what I will say is, obviously, you know that we found Cody. And my understanding is she was like your niece?
Kind of.
Okay. Like you were married to, what's her name?
No, I was never married to her.
Oh, no, that's right. I'm sorry. Okay. Sissy is what she goes by?
Yeah, for about 7 or 8 years.
7 or 8 years? All right. Yeah, and I understand that at one point she even lived with y'all for a while because her mama couldn't stay out of jail and all the other stuff.
She never lived with us. She stayed with us, but her mom was there with us.
Okay. Okay. That's why I'm asking questions so I can understand.
And they kind of shitted on us and kicked them out.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I know these guys were talking to you a little bit. What all have they told you about, why we ended up here at this house?
Supposedly that they found her body and something to do about something about trying to get rid of murder evidence or something. I don't know.
Okay. So you got out of prison in January.
Investigators brought John in to sit down for questioning. At first, he acted completely innocent, treating the interview like a routine check-in.
Would there be any reason then for there to be anything, Nora or Cody or anybody else to have anything, from this house? Like, for example, if I had mail, like if I had a bill that had this address on it, would there be a reason for them to have that? Okay.
All right. This one, Chelsea, that used to live here.
Okay. Is Chelsea friends with them?
She used to live with them.
Okay. And how long ago did Chelsea move out?
I guess back in 22.
About when? 22?
When I went to prison.
When did you go to prison?
I stayed in for about a year.
Did you ever go over there to help move some furniture or anything?
That was last night.
That was last night? Okay, because I was told you were there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Sunday morning.
Yeah, I believe so. I might have. I can't remember. Say yes or no, but yeah.
Okay. So you don't know where you were at?
I have part memory. Yeah.
Okay. But I'm just going to ask you this point blank. I asked you about that, and you gave me a whole detailed story about that tree coming down and coming in the house and everything else. Okay. So you can remember that.
Yeah.
But there's a girl, right?
Yeah, that's what I was telling you.
That you know. That's been a part of your life.
Yeah.
But you can't remember basics about where you've been the last few days.
John could describe details like a fallen tree on a nearby property caused by a recent storm. But with simple questions about his whereabouts on Sunday morning, he couldn't keep his timeline straight. He blamed his bad memory and claimed he was getting confused about the days and times. The investigator pointed out the obvious. How could someone remember every detail about a fallen storm tree, but completely forget where they were for 12 hours during the exact window a young woman he knew was murdered?
Okay. Regardless of what you tell me, I can tell you I'm going to let you get out of this truck and walk back in your house.
Thank you very much.
So, I mean, I just want to understand what happened and if it's something that got out of hand. That's why we're asking. Yeah?
I thought we were going to take it down.
I'm not going to take you to jail. Not right now, but I need to know the truth.
No.
I need to know the truth. And clearly there's more to this.
No, it's just right. That's right.
Okay. Why are you... We're not even talking about that.
But they just... Because I'm not supposed to be here. Because I'm registered here. Here, South Carolina prison. This is my girlfriend. And based on their... registered.
It's most definitely not shorter, man. To go from Ellisville to here?
Yeah. Instead of going all the way back and through town.
No, it's way shorter to get on I-75 and come up to I-10 and just shoot over to 137. But you went way out of the way, Leonard. Way out of the way.
Man, not
I think. Can you understand from our standpoint? I mean, and I know you're saying you don't remember. I'll be honest with you, I kind of see it as untruths. And we're not just talking about standing here versus standing there. I mean, you've said some things that are completely opposite of what your wife and some of the other people here said. You've said some things that are completely opposite of what video has shown us.
Right.
And we're struggling. I want to believe you. And you know what else is down Howell Road? Right where you...
John never offered a full confession, but he didn't need to. The combination of his broken alibi, store surveillance footage, cell records, and the mail found directly under Coyote's body gave investigators everything they needed. On Thursday, the 7th of September, 2023, John Leonard Bowen Jr. was arrested and charged with murder. On Wednesday, the 11th of June 2025, John Leonard Bowen Jr. was found guilty of second-degree murder in the death of 18-year-old Coyote Turner. He was sentenced to life in prison. For his secondary charge of tampering with physical evidence, burning her body in an attempt to erase her identity, John received an additional 23.1 years in prison, ordered to run consecutively after his life sentence. What makes this case so chilling isn't just how it ended, but who committed the crime. John wasn't a stranger lurking in the dark. He was someone trusted by the people, meant to protect Coyote. In the end, the killer was brought out of the shadows, and justice was delivered for Coyote Turner. Overlooking or excusing a person's past violations can create the conditions for far more serious harm down the line. Recognizing someone's true nature, their history, and the warning signs they display, and maintaining a safe distance accordingly, is something every family needs to take seriously. Leave a like and a
especially when them children be involved. Speaking to children, we just gonna keep it rolling. Daddy unalive mommy and I'm next. Ew.
You know how to perform CPR? My phone's I gotta I'll check back and text me. Maybe text me because my battery's really low. Okay, and
This is Harold Henthorne. He just hung up on 911 as his wife, Tony, is about to die. He claims it's because he has no battery, but the real reason Harold hangs up is far more disturbing. 5 hours before this 911 call was recorded, Harold and his wife Tony had been living a picture-perfect life with their 7-year-old daughter, Haley. To everyone around, Harold was known as the best father, spending every morning and evening with Haley, cooking meals, installing cameras to make sure she was safe, and even spending more time with his daughter than his own wife. As for Haley, she loved her dad more than anything in the world and trusted him with all her heart. In her mind, her father could do no harm. But on September 29th, 2012, Haley's life took a disturbing turn for the worse when her mom fell to her death and she was left alone with her dad. She was told it was an accident, but what no one knows is that Harold had a first wife who also died under mysterious circumstances. And what's worse, he recently took out a $1 million life insurance policy on his own daughter, Haley. The circumstances surrounding Haley's mother's death would remain a mystery if it wasn't for her uncle, Barry Bertollet, who will stop at nothing to uncover the truth, and who may be the only person who can save the 7-year-old girl. It's September 29th, 2012, 5 p.m. For Haley's uncle, Barry Bertollet, it's a normal Saturday afternoon in Tupelo, Mississippi. Barry is a successful cardiologist, devoted father, and is close with his large family, including his younger sister, Tony. Despite her living hundreds of miles away in Colorado with her husband Harold and their 7-year-old daughter, Haley. So when Barry receives an unexpected phone call from his brother-in-law, Harold, there's no reason to think anything is wrong. Until Suddenly, he hears something he can't quite comprehend, something that will change everything.
I answered the phone, and there's this high-pitched scream that's coming across the phone. You know, Barry, go look at your cell phone.
On the other end of the phone, Tony's husband, Harold, is frantic and not making much sense. He keeps repeating that he can't talk right now and that Barry needs to check his phone. And then, before Barry can ask any questions, his brother-in-law suddenly hangs up. His sister is on a weekend trip to Rocky Mountain National Park to celebrate her and Harold's 12th wedding anniversary, while Haley is at home with a babysitter. For an outdoorsy couple who loves the mountains, it's the perfect place to get away, just the two of them. Everything seemed like it was going according to plan, until now. Barry immediately grabs his phone to check for Harold's messages, still trying to understand why Harold sounded so frantic.
It says, Barry, urgent. Tony is injured, fall from rock. She has been in a critical accident.
The message is short, and Harold gives him minimal details, but to Barry, that only makes things more alarming. His sister is in trouble, and Harold needs his help. And knowing that they are in a remote area, likely far from emergency services, means that Barry needs to use his medical experience to try to support and guide him. He may be her only hope.
Right after that, he sent me some vital signs. He said pulse of 60 and respirations of 5. With a pulse rate of 60, it sounds like her heart's okay. I'm optimistic at this point. You know, she's a strong lady.
Then, Barry receives several more text messages from Harold, one after another. With every message, he begins to understand that this is not a minor fall. His sister's situation is rapidly declining, and she needs CPR.
The fact that Harold needs to do CPR tells me that Tony has now lost her ability to breathe and that her heart is no longer getting a signal to beat. Either one of those is critical, but both together are horrible.
Being the big brother and supposed to take care of your sister, you can't do it. It's a bad feeling. I need to be there for my sister, and I couldn't.
As Barry waits for more information from Harold, he begins alerting the rest of Tony's family. Her mother, her father, and others are told that something's happened, though no one has any clear answers yet. Suddenly, a seemingly ordinary Saturday has become a terrifying nightmare for the Bertolet family.
I said that Tony had been in an accident, there's ongoing rescue, but the vital signs that Barry is getting, it doesn't look good.
As Barry waits anxiously for an update from Harold, minutes turn into hours. Then, he gets a text that no family member wants to hear.
Harold had texted me and said that she's gone. That's when I knew that Tony had passed away. It's hard to believe that that would happen to somebody that you know, that you love.
That's my sister. And Barry said, she's gone. It's the worst 2 words I've ever heard in my life.
I was not there to protect her. That's something that eats into the heart of a dad.
Barry has lost his little sister, her parents have lost a daughter, and his 7-year-old niece, Haley, has just lost her mother. Her family is in shock. Only hours earlier, it was a normal weekend. Now, they are being told she died in a tragic fall. And from the outside, that is exactly what it appears to be. A terrible accident, the kind of unimaginable tragedy that no family can ever prepare for. Everyone is mourning their loss, unsure how to move forward. Everyone, except one person who seems to be pushing through in spite of the tragedy, Tony's husband. Within 24 hours of Tony's death, a full memorial page is already up on the funeral home's website. It is filled with pictures, a complete biography, and a detailed history of Tony's life, all created and published by Harold. He single-handedly arranges Tony's funeral, down to the very last detail. The cremation is planned, the date is set, and all that is left is to notify her loved ones.
48 hours after his wife has passed, he then shows us his plans for her funeral. He's got a video made, he's got the songs picked out, he's already contacted the people that are going to sing the songs. He's got it completely planned out. I was thinking that if it was my wife that had died, I would be this bucket of mush over here, much less being able to have planned all this.
5 days after Tony's death, hundreds of people gather for her memorial service.
The purpose today is to honor and to remember Tony Hinthorn.
And we were all, grieving, and, it was just an emotional event. And we look over, and Harold he's got his 2 or 3 friends, and they are shaking hands, joking around, talking about playing golf. Very detached from the situation. And it was more like he was hosting a party.
We expected to find a grieving husband. We found something quite the opposite.
To Barry and his family, Harold's behavior feels unusual. He's friendly, talkative, and personable. But what Barry can't help but notice is the stark contrast between his brother-in-law and his 7-year-old niece, Haley. Haley appears the complete opposite. she's barely speaking, and she hasn't even shed a tear, almost as if she's afraid to show any emotion.
We are thinking that there could be something darker that has gone on. We had no concrete evidence. It was that gut sensation that this isn't right. As a family, we all thought we need to start taking notes.
In the following days, Barry keeps replaying the events of his sister's death in his mind, especially the panic texts he received from Harold on that evening. Though it was described as a tragic accident, a freak fall during a romantic anniversary trip, he can't shake the nagging feeling that something's not right. Barry quietly brings his doubts to other family members, trying to piece together what really happened during Tony and Harold's weekend in Rocky Mountain National Park. And the more they talk, the more the family realizes that Barry is not the only one who feels something is wrong. Barry starts pushing the cops for answers, demanding that police take a closer look at what happened on that mountain that night. With the family's suspicions in mind, Harold's 911 call from the night Tony died is re-examined.
Did he do it in front of the
My wife is
kid?
pulling from a rock on the north summit of Deer Mountain, on the Deer Mountain Trail, when she's in really critical condition.
On Saturday, September 29th, Tony and Harold were meant to be celebrating their 12th wedding anniversary. It was supposed to be a romantic weekend getaway, carefully planned by Harold, just the two of them in the mountains. But the trip took a devastating turn when, according to Harold, Tony slipped near the edge of a cliff on a hike and fell almost 140 feet.
Is it like a sliding fall, or did she fall, directly? I didn't actually say yep.
Harold seems panicked and in distress, but he appears to be doing everything he can to save Tony's life, asking for help, even demanding that a helicopter be sent to rescue her.
Here's the thing, I will pay any and all expenses for a helicopter. I don't care if it's private, I don't care if it's commercial, I'll pay any and all expenses right now. They can't, drop somebody out of the helicopter. From a 10-foot rope. No, sir, that has not been done in my experience. She needs to get out of here. She needs to get to the hospital.
Harold waited in the dark until a park ranger finally reached them. Around 8 p.m., Tony was taken off the mountain and rushed to the hospital, but by then, it was already too late. After reviewing the 911 call, it seems this was just a tragic accident, and Harold did everything he could, and that his strange behavior in the days after Tony's death was just Harold's way of dealing with his grief. The Bertolets choose to support Harold and Haley as best they can, trying to move forward as a family. Harold is now the single father to a little girl who is also grieving the loss of her mother. Tony's family does everything they can to stay close to Haley, and they visit as often as possible, remaining a steady presence in her life. But as the months go by, a troubling pattern emerges. Harold stops returning phone calls as often, and visits become harder to arrange. They get to see Haley less and less. On the surface, he does seem loving, protective, and devoted, the kind of father who is always there for his daughter. But what they don't know is that behind closed doors, the reality is far more disturbing. Harold keeps an extremely close eye on Haley. His daughter needs to ask permission for everything. He sets extremely strict limits on her behavior, constantly watching her. She can't do anything unsupervised. He even controls when she can drink water. Worse yet, to ensure she follows the rules at all times, he has set up a baby monitor in her room, even though she's already 7 years old.
His relationship with Haley was almost to a point of obsession.
We were on bated breath. What's he going to do with her?
Is there something else going
From
on?
Harold's perspective, his ex-wife's family has been on his side, but what he doesn't know is that the family has been working with the police this whole time, slowly gathering as much incriminating information about him as they can in an attempt to save Haley and explain what really happened to Tony. They agree that to the outside world, Harold may look like a protective father, but to those looking closely, the seemingly loving father-daughter relationship hides something much darker. Harold's odd behavior, the inconsistencies, the growing distance between them and Haley, all of it keeps pointing back to the same terrifying thought. Tony's daughter could be living with a man who killed her mother. But what no one realizes is that Harold has been hiding another horrifying secret all these years. A secret that makes Tony's death look less like an accident and more like a carefully plotted murder. 20 years earlier, long before Harold met Tony, he had been married to a woman named Lynn Rochelle, until, on May 7th, 1995, she tragically passed away. The couple was driving in a remote part of Colorado, south of Denver, when Harold claims Lynn was killed in a car accident, and the local authorities quickly ruled that her death was not suspicious.
In 5 short days, the sheriff's office had determined that the death of Lynn Henthorne was an accident.
There are so many similarities in these two deaths. Both occurred in very remote locations in Colorado. In both cases, Harold Henthorne is the only witness. This is either the unluckiest guy in the world whose 2 wives have died under freakish, unusual circumstances, or it could be murder.
Harold is never seriously investigated for Lynn's death. To the authorities, it was an accident, tragic, but not criminal. The problem is, although Harold claimed Lynn died in a head-on collision, eyewitness reports at the time indicate that the alleged accident had been staged, and Harold's story was completely fabricated. But unfortunately, there isn't enough evidence to prove it. 4 years later, in 1999, Harold joins a Christian dating site where he matches with a woman named Toni Bertollet. When Harold first meets Toni, he presents himself as a wealthy entrepreneur running his own business. But behind that carefully constructed image, the truth is something very different. When investigators look into Harold's background, they make a stunning discovery. He has no employment history. The IRS has no history of him earning income in well over 20 years. There's no deposits from any businesses, no evidence of having a successful company at all. The life he has shown the world is a facade, and the money he did have came from a $650,000 life insurance payout he received after Lynn's death. And now, nearly 17 years later, it's happened again. After Toni's death, Harold stands to receive another life insurance payout of more than $4.5 million. And if that wasn't alarming enough, Harold has also taken out a life insurance policy on Haley, his own daughter. If something were to happen to her, he could receive another $1 million. The family's worst nightmare is coming true. Not only did Harold seemingly have a hand in Toni's death, but 7-year-old Haley could be his next victim.
We all felt like we were dealing with a ticking time bomb. Really, he's a danger. This man has killed, supposedly, 2 wives, and the last thing we wanted was him going home to his child.
Everybody's primary concern was Haley.
They need to get Haley away from Harold as fast as possible. But even with everything they have uncovered, there is still one major problem. No DNA, no eyewitnesses, no single piece of evidence that can prove that Harold killed Lynn, or Toni, or even that he has plans to hurt Haley. The entire case is still built on convenient coincidences, strange details, and suspicious patterns. Investigators have a possible motive, but they need something that ties everything together. Time is of the essence. Haley is still being kept completely isolated from her mother's family, who are all desperate to protect her. He controls everything, her schedule, her home, and the people she is allowed to see. If they want to get Haley away from him and finally hold him responsible, they need more. That is when they noticed several inconsistencies from the night Toni died. During the 911 call, Harold claimed his battery was too low and hung up, but then proceeded to make 22 additional phone calls and sent and received 98 text messages. And when cops speak with Barry, he explains that in Harold's initial frantic texts, he had sent Toni's vital signs. But as a seasoned cardiologist, he now wonders if Harold was lying.
The way that my sister had died was inconsistent with the way that Harold had described it. If my sister did bleed to death, the vital signs that Harold had sent me did not match. She should have originally had a rapid heart rate as she was bleeding out, and then go down as she got closer to the time of death. So none of this made sense to me at all.
Then investigators uncover another detail. Near her body, they find a digital camera. According to Harold, Toni fell while holding it. However, much to their surprise, the SD card inside is still intact, and on the card are photos from Toni and Harold's hike, taken throughout the day. The pictures look exactly what Harold had described, a happy couple, smiling together, enjoying a beautiful anniversary trip in the mountains. Because they took so many photos, investigators can follow their movements and see that during the hike, the couple left the main trail and moved into a remote part of the park where hikers rarely go. Then they find one photo in particular that catches their eye. In it, Harold is standing near the edge of a cliff, holding onto a tree. As they study the location more closely, they realize something chilling. The spot directly behind Harold is the same place where, moments later, Toni would fall or be pushed to her death.
The cliff actually is raised, that is to say that you can't walk over it. You have to step over several feet to fall down the cliff. Our conclusion in looking at it was that Toni had to have been pushed because she couldn't have fallen.
The final nail in the coffin, though, is something entirely unexpected. Inside Harold's car, investigators discover a map of the park and the couple's hiking route. On that map, Harold has marked an X on the exact spot where his wife fell. It is suddenly clear to investigators, Harold Henthorn is not a grieving husband, he is a cold-blooded killer, and Haley is in grave danger. The FBI are called in and begin tracking Harold's movements, trying to understand his routine. They have enough evidence to arrest him, but Haley's safety is the #1 priority.
We had our surveillance team watching him for a couple days because we did not want to arrest Harold with his young daughter there and create some sort of hostage situation.
And then, on the morning of November 6th, 2014, Harold drops Haley off at school just like any other day, then starts driving back home. But he never makes it there. With Haley safely out of his reach, law enforcement moves in.
FBI all gathered around him, putting handcuffs on him. Harold kept saying, "I'm Harold Henthorn." The FBI agent said, "We realize that. That's why we're putting the handcuffs on him."
A little over 2 years after Tony Henthorne died, federal authorities finally arrest Harold and charge him with the first-degree murder of his wife. At just 9 years old, Haley is about to find out her father has killed her mother. Her world will never be the same again.
The day that he got arrested, I got called down to the principal's office. At that point, my principal told me that my father had been arrested. I just remember feeling just so cold and detached because I didn't know what was going on and I didn't know what was happening to me. And at this point, I thought there must have been some mistake because he would never do that.
At this moment, Haley has not only lost her mother, but she has also lost her dad. As she comes to terms with her new reality and her father's case moves through the courts, she is temporarily placed in the care of family friends. Then, in September 2015, 3 years after Tony's murder, Harold's trial begins.
Well, this is a case that's gained national attention. A husband accused of pushing his wife to her death to collect on her insurance policies.
The family of Harold's first wife, Lynn, joins the Bertollet family at the trial. Although they do not have enough evidence to charge Harold for Lynn's death, her family knows that their testimony will strengthen the prosecution's case against Harold, and despite the insurmountable odds, the jury believes them. The Rochelles and the Bertolets have won their fight against Harold Henthorne, and he is convicted of first-degree murder. On September 21st, 2015, he is sentenced to life in prison without parole.
All of this is to get justice for Tony, justice for Haley, and it's a really, really satisfying moment.
An emotional exchange between Tony Henthorne's mom and a juror.
She just said, as one mom to another, I feel your pain.
Now with the trial behind them and Harold behind bars, there's just one more thing to do. On December 23rd, just 2 days before Christmas, Barry Bertollet and his wife Paula get the best gift they could ever ask for. Haley's adoption has been officially approved by the court, bringing an end to years of uncertainty and giving her a permanent home with the family who fought so hard to protect her.
On Christmas Eve, oh, we got Haley. That's like the best Christmas present ever. I think as me as the big brother, I couldn't be there to guard my sister. But I'm there to guard her daughter now.
At that point, I felt like they were my family and that I belonged with them.
Tony's memory will live on through her family, friends, and through the Tony J. Bertollet Endowment, established by the Bertollet family, which helps other aspiring medical students carry on where she left off. In life and in death, her legacy has made the world a better place. Haley honors her mother by making a conscious effort to embrace life to the fullest and by working to move beyond the trauma of her past.
I think that me and her in the pictures that I see of me now, I feel like I look so much like her. And I think that choosing every day to forgive Harold for what he did, not for his sake, but for mine, so that I know that I'm freed from him, from his control, that I'm my own person. Being who I am is not something that came from easiness. I had to go through something terrible to become as powerful as I am today. I want to use my story to good because my story is similar to what happens to a lot of people, and I want them to know that regardless of what they've been through, there's always a way out of the darkness.
That's an interesting story. Like, we watch a lot of this crime and we don't really hear about the impact to the actual victims. So that's kind of cool that they slid that in there. You know what I'm saying? That's actually pretty satisfying. That one was intense, wasn't it? That was pretty intense. I got another one though. She tries to play crazy in court, and we're gonna have to see what happens with that.
She sat in that courtroom like she owned it, laughing, smirking, making faces at the judge like this was all some sick joke. This 25-year-old woman acted like a rock star who just walked off stage, not someone on trial for one of Wisconsin's most disturbing crimes. She mocked the court. She claimed she wasn't in her right mind. She played every card she could think of to avoid prison. It was all an act, her sure way of going home. But then came the moment that shattered that illusion and wiped the smile clean off her face. This is the chilling case of Taylor Schabusiness, a woman who thought she could pretend to be insane to cover up a brutal murder followed by gruesome mutilation. A crime so disturbing it left an entire community horrified. And wait until you hear what she said in her own words.
So I took a chain, I put it around his neck, and I asked him again, where my at? He didn't respond, his face turned purple, there was blood coming out of his mouth.
You ever love something so much that you kill it? Like, it happens to me. That's the feeling that I have. I love something so much that I kill it. Like, I love it so much, and then I kill it. That's what happens to me.
This is Taylor Schabusiness, and this is how her shocking courtroom behavior turned a horrifying crime into one of the most disturbing legal moments in recent memory.
Is this blood? Does this look like blood to you? Or am I just tripping? Bloody footprint? Could possibly be blood. No footprints on the passenger side. Hey, who did that? Hi, Taylor. You got blood on your hands here too. No, on your hands. Nobody's armed?
Nobody's armed.
You sure?
Well, they found a kind of disturbing stuff at the house there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of blood. Basically, Shad's head.
What?
Yeah. Where'd you do the body?
The body's there.
So we're gonna take the head somewhere?
I like that.
You like that?
Well, you're gonna have fun trying to look for all the organs, but yeah, they're all dismembered.
What?
Yeah.
So you dismembered the body too?
Yeah.
And what did you do with the body parts? Basement, upstairs, downstairs?
Absolutely in the basement. I was gonna bring with him. And then, I know I forgot the head. I wanted the head.
Did you bring anything with you?
Yeah, it's in the van.
What?
It's in the van. It's, what is it? A foot, maybe.
The what?
I think it's a foot.
A foot in the van?
A leg, maybe. I don't know. I'm like,
What?
I'm gonna bring it all, and then I'm like, man, this is messy. So I got lazy.
If you're new to this case, brace yourselves, because what you're about to witness will change your understanding of how far human darkness can go. Before we dive into the twisted mind of Taylor Schabusiness and the horrific crime that shocked Wisconsin, make sure to subscribe to Women of Crime. We uncover the most disturbing female criminal cases that mainstream media won't touch, and this is just the beginning. To understand what happened in that Green Bay courtroom, you need to know the twisted path that led Taylor there. Born in Chicago to seemingly loving parents. When Taylor was 11, tragedy struck. Her mother Marla died unexpectedly in her sleep. Her father found his wife cold, beside him in bed while the children slept upstairs, unaware their world had just collapsed.
They were pretty young. I mean, obviously, you know, their mom's not around anymore.
The family relocated to Green Bay, where Taylor's behavior began changing. School troubles emerged, acting out. Small incidents that seemed like normal teenage rebellion but were actually warning signs of something more sinister developing. By 16, her father was so concerned he sent her to live with grandparents in Texas, a decision that temporarily stabilized her life. She graduated high school, seemed to find her footing. For a brief period, hope flickered, but when Taylor returned to Wisconsin as an adult, she appeared to thrive. She landed a job at Saputo Cheese Factory, worked third shift for 3.5 years, earned decent money, maintained her own apartment. Her father was proud. The troubled teenager seemed to have evolved into a functioning adult. Then Warren Schabusiness got out of jail. Warren was Taylor's ex-husband, the man who would introduce her to methamphetamine and send her life into a catastrophic spiral. According to her father's later testimony, the transformation was immediate and terrifying.
Yeah, and she was doing really well there too, until her boyfriend/husband got out of jail. That turned everything upside down.
Yeah, in part because of the methamphetamine use, right?
Yep. Meth, heroin, whatever else. I don't know.
Marijuana?
Yeah, I don't know. The kid was already doing that shit before and was just a fucking loser, and he got my daughter involved in that shit.
Taylor quit her job, started using drugs intravenously, became what her father described as night and day, different, a complete stranger wearing his daughter's face. But here's what makes this story even more chilling. Taylor's problems ran deeper than addiction. Court records revealed she'd been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and psychosis at 14, multiple hospitalizations, a pattern of refusing medication and treatment that would become crucial to understanding what happened next. By February 2022, Taylor was living a chaotic existence. An ankle bracelet monitored her movements from previous charges. She stayed with Scott Tomes in an East Side apartment, floating between friends and temporary arrangements. This unstable lifestyle was about to collide with a figure from her past in the most horrific way possible. Shad Therian was 24, someone Taylor had known since middle school. They dated sporadically over the years, sometimes a couple, sometimes just friends who occasionally hooked up. He struggled with his own mental health issues, but was loved by his family, particularly his mother, Tara. February 21st started like countless other nights in their social circle. Taylor was at Scott's apartment when their mutual friend AJ called wanting to hang out. The three decided to pick up Shad and make it a group gathering. They drove Scott's minivan to Shad's father's house, collected him, then made a stop that would set everything in motion, buying methamphetamine. Back at Scott's apartment, they smoked marijuana and shot up meth in what seemed like another routine drug-fueled evening. Around midnight, something shifted. Taylor and Shad decided to leave together, heading to his mother's house on Stony Brook Lane. AJ chose to stay behind, a decision that likely saved his life. What happened next in Tara Therian's basement would shock investigators worldwide. The house was quiet when they arrived. Tara slept upstairs with her boyfriend, unaware her son had just entered with his killer. The basement door was unlocked, a detail that would become significant given what Taylor did next.
We launched onto the bed. We went from the stairs to the bed, and then, yeah.
But before you chain around his neck, were you in Chad like kissing or any foreplay or anything?
No, we were chilling at home.
You just chilling. So all of a sudden, the chain went around his neck.
But this wasn't rough sex gone wrong. Taylor's own confession reveals something far more calculated and sinister.
He likes it.
Alright.
So, I was gonna walk him like a dog.
And he wanted that?
I have no idea, but I was gonna do it anyway.
Okay. And you claim it was his idea? With the chain?
No, it was like him. It was all him.
Taylor wrapped a metal dog chain around Shad's neck and pulled tight. He began struggling, fighting for air, for life.
So when did you realize that Shad was not alive anymore?
You know, his face turned purple. He was coughing up blood and he was pissing. It still didn't stop. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was blood. And then
So the blood was coming out of his
I
mouth?
kept on feeling his heartbeat. Hearing his heartbeat.
That statement reveals everything. Taylor Schabusiness made a conscious, calculated decision to continue strangling Shad Therian even after she knew it would kill him. This wasn't passion or mental breakdown. It was cold-blooded murder. After Shad died, Taylor didn't call for help or attempt CPR. Instead, she spent the next 2 to 3 hours doing something that would horrify even seasoned investigators. She played with his corpse.
What?
You said play with only?
Play with his... Yeah, like I put him up over the bed and then stuff. And then I had it.
What did you do?
I put it in his mouth, put it in his... Put it back. Put it back.
You said that she played with his... After he was dead? Was it erect?
It was half. It was half.
She admitted to sexually assaulting Shad's body using objects to violate him even in death, treating his remains like her personal plaything. But Taylor wasn't finished. The truly shocking revelation was yet to come. She went upstairs to Tara's kitchen and gathered several knives. Returning to the basement, she began the methodical process of dismembering Shad's body, a task that would take hours and reveal a level of planning that contradicted any claims of mental illness.
We all sucking and cutting at the same time.
She would later tell investigators in a jailhouse call, describing acts so graphic that even hardened detectives struggled to process them. Taylor positioned Shad's body carefully, head hanging off the mattress with a bucket underneath to catch blood. She sawed through his neck with kitchen knives until his head dropped into the container. Then she systematically dismembered the rest of his body. She removed his arms at the elbows, severed his legs, opened his torso, and extracted organs, placing each part in separate plastic bags. The medical examiner would later testify that this level of anatomical dismemberment required hours of sustained effort. During this gruesome process, Taylor was interrupted. Tara came downstairs with her cat, forcing Taylor to quickly cover her work. Tara set the cat down. Tara returned upstairs, completely unaware of the horror happening feet away.
He pissed off at the dismemberment process, actually.
Did it take a while? It took a while.
Yeah, because I was nodding out.
I guess you're kind of sleeping, kind of nodding in and out. Have you taken any other drugs?
I should have took drugs. That probably would have helped, but I didn't.
Taylor admitted, describing how she took breaks during the dismemberment, sometimes falling asleep mid-task before waking to continue her grisly work. The kitchen knives grew dull from cutting through bone. One serrated bread knife was so worn down that investigators later noted its teeth had been ground nearly flat. Yet Taylor persisted, driven by something far beyond drug-induced psychosis. She had planned to take all the body parts with her and dispose of the evidence completely. But fatigue and the sheer scope of the task overwhelmed her.
Oh, I forgot the head. I wanted the head.
Did you bring anything with you?
Yeah, it's in the van.
What?
It's in the van. It's what is it? A foot maybe. I think it's a foot.
A foot in the van?
A leg maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna bring it all. And then I'm like, man, this is messy. So I just left it. I got lazy.
She said, a phrase that would become central to understanding her downfall. Taylor left Shad's head in the basement bucket. She loaded some body parts into Scott's minivan but abandoned most of the evidence. This crucial mistake would lead directly to her capture. Driving back to Scott's apartment, Taylor confessed what she'd done. She tried to figure out disposal methods for the remaining evidence, but time was running out faster than she realized. While Taylor schemed on Green Bay's east side, Tara Therian was waking up on the west side with a growing sense that something was terribly wrong. Shad wasn't answering his phone. A strange smell permeated the house. When Tara went to use the basement bathroom, she noticed a bucket that hadn't been there before. The 911 call that followed would become one of the most chilling recordings in Wisconsin law enforcement history.
I have no clue what's happening. My girl swears that she's found her severed head of her son in the basement.
Did you go down there?
That bucket. I went down. I can't tell what the fuck is. I'm part of my language. I'm kind of a little freaked out.
Did she just wake up and say that?
Yeah.
Whose head is it?
She's claiming it's her son.
How old's her son?
24, 20, 25.
Do you think she's hallucinating, or do you think that...
I don't think so. I went down there. There's something in the damn bucket. I can't. I don't know, man. She's a little freaked out and kind of freaking me out.
What?
He has it in my son's head in a bucket right on the basement. My basement.
What makes you think that?
Because I looked in the bucket.
What did you see?
Exactly what I noticed.
Where's the rest of the body at?
No idea. He was here a couple hours, then he left with Taylor. And they... Taylor.
Who's that?
Girl. Taylor Coronado. And then I heard my door and heard minivan start. And I went downstairs and I went to the bathroom. The lights were out in the basement. I went and heard them off and I looked around and no one was there. So then when I turned around to come back upstairs, there was a 5-gallon bucket with a towel over it. And I'm like, oh great, that's why they're out here all the yesterday, they're pissing in a bucket. And I looked, and that is not what was in that bucket.
What's your son's name?
Sad Syrian.
I mean, you're sure it couldn't be like a fake head or something?
Not touching it. I'm not looking at it again.
Okay.
Responding officers, initially skeptical, a severed head in a bucket sounded like something from a horror movie, but when they lifted the towel covering the container, they discovered something that would haunt them forever. Detective Philip Scanlon would later testify about the bucket's contents.
Okay. There was a human head. There was genitalia in the bucket.
What do you mean genitalia?
What I would recognize as a penis and testicles.
And were they laying underneath the head?
They were visible after the head was removed, yes.
This wasn't random violence, this was deliberate desecration. While investigators processed this unprecedented crime scene, Taylor was across town, unaware that her world was about to collapse. She didn't know police had found the basement. She didn't know they'd connected her to Shad. She thought she had time to dispose of the remaining evidence and disappear. She was catastrophically wrong.
Did you both see this?
I opened the towel, I picked up the towel and dropped it because I don't know what it is, man. I have bad vision, and she's like, is that what I think it is? I'm like, I don't know what
Do you want to stay with those two? I'll just go see what.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Go right there. Look right, there's a bucket with a towel on it. I went down there because I had the door.
Just keep an eye on this too.
Within hours, investigators had identified the connection between Shad and Taylor. They knew about Scott's minivan. They had Taylor's address. Body camera footage captured their arrival at the Eastman Avenue apartment complex in the early morning hours of February 23rd. Immediately, officers spotted evidence that would seal Taylor's fate.
Nothing. Hey. Is this blood? Does this look like blood to you? Or am I just tripping? Bloody footprint? You see this right here?
Could possibly be blood.
No footprints on the passenger side.
Hey, who did that? Hi, Taylor. How's it going? Officer Russell with the Green Bay Police Department. Just make sure you ain't got nothing on you here. With Taylor.
Contact with Taylor.
Taylor, you have a warrant for your arrest. Just put your hands behind your back, quick.
Anybody else in your apartment?
You got blood on your hands here, too.
No, on your hands.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to.
What apartment here?
What apartment are you in?
Do we have Adam 3 come up?
He cut something, get up here.
On the double.
Which apartment?
One, there's what they came back to.
Yeah, go. Guys, hurry and get here now. Watch this window right here. Gun point. Go in here. Come to the back of the apartment. That's where we are. You, come over here. 2 more will be fine. If 84 is here.
Hands up!
You have contact with the male.
Hands up! Walk out towards me!
Have a seat.
All the traffic, come towards me! Get on the ground!
Who else is in the apartment? Be straight up.
Tomes.
Tomes? Who else? Just Tomes? Is he armed? Nobody's armed?
Nobody's armed.
You sure?
I'm sure.
What's going on here?
Green Bay Police! Everybody get here! Announce yourself now!
No, there's nobody in there.
Go ahead. Negative, we got enough here.
Blood stained her hands and clothing. She appeared oddly detached, almost serene given the circumstances, but her behavior in the police car would provide the first glimpse into a mind that was either completely unhinged or completely calculating. Body camera footage captured Taylor talking to herself, laughing, making bizarre comments as officers transported her to the station.
He took him out! Woo!
At one point, she randomly mentioned Kyle Rittenhouse, the teenager acquitted in a high-profile Wisconsin case months earlier. The reference suggested she was already thinking about legal strategies and potential defenses. This raised the critical question that would define her entire case. Was Taylor Schabusiness suffering from a genuine mental breakdown, or was she already orchestrating her defense? At the police station, Taylor was read her Miranda rights and agreed to speak with investigators. What followed was one of the most detailed, disturbing confessions in criminal history.
Do you know Shad? And how do you know Shad?
He's my ex.
Your ex-boyfriend?
Yeah.
Well, they found a kind of a disturbing stuff at the house there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of blood. Basically Shad's head. Yeah.
For hours, Taylor calmly recounted every horrific detail. She admitted to strangulation, necrophilia, and dismemberment with the same tone someone might use to describe grocery shopping.
Well, you're gonna have fun trying to look for all the organs, but yeah, they're all dismembered.
And what did you do with the body parts?
They're in the house.
Somewhere?
They're like,
Basement, upstairs,
absolutely in the basement. I was gonna bring them, got lazy. I was getting pissed off at the dismemberment process, actually.
Did it take a while to go out?
Yeah, because like, I was nodding out.
The most chilling moment came when investigators asked about her motivation.
Just started throwing. How long did it take for him to die?
Like, 3 to 5 minutes, maybe. But, I don't know. I have no idea.
You realize that by continuing that he killed him?
Oh, yeah, because I felt bad because I'm like, damn, he's gonna be the reason after this. I'm like, might as well just kill him.
So you realize that by continuing that you may actually kill him, right?
I swear to God, he was telling me just so I'm like, oh, and I did it.
Have you used what we call props?
All of them.
And you also said that you enjoyed it, right? Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
Alright. What'd you enjoy about that?
I'm just...
Was it kind of thrilling, a rush, exciting? What was the feeling that you got out of it?
That's all it is. Like, this is the thing that I have, like, I've always had, you know, like, you ever love something so much that you kill it? Like, it happens to me, that's the feeling that I have. I love something so much that I kill it. Like, I love it so much, and then I kill it. That's what happens to me. So,
That statement, "you ever love something so much that you kill it," would become one of the most disturbing quotes in Wisconsin criminal history. But investigators needed more details. The medical examiner had questions only Taylor could answer about the precise dismemberment methods.
At the house right now, there's, you know what a medical examiner is? They're the ones that kind of like take care of people that died and see how they died. And so, you know, they have a bunch of questions for us that we really can't answer. And the biggest questions that they have is exactly how did you dismember Shad? Did you know, cut arms, or I mean, was it just internal organs, or?
So you started on that, right?
yeah, and then I don't know where I'm from there. I just want to...
Did you cut it, did you remove his arms?
Yeah.
Okay, can you show me where you would cut on the arms?
Right there.
Right, the elbows, was this part of the arm left on?
You gotta go in that blue bed.
Okay, look.
Yeah.
But you know that you cut off at the elbows?
Yeah.
Okay, you cut both arms off at the elbows?
I hope so. Because like, I was saying that dismemberment process I did was like really messed up because like I was nodding out. And then I was like sawing it off.
Did he use just a knife?
Just a knife, so like, yeah.
Yet the medical examiner's later testimony revealed that Shad's body had been dismembered with apparent anatomical knowledge. His torso was bisected cleanly, limbs were removed at joints, organs were carefully extracted and separately bagged. Where did Taylor learn these techniques? Had she practiced before? She maintained this was her first murder, though she made one telling comment.
Saying on my name that I've killed more than one, but man, I'm trying to work on this appeal, yo, and get out.
After her confession, Taylor was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. Given the severity, she faced life without parole. But Taylor had a plan that would turn her trial into a spectacle, convince everyone she was completely insane. From her first courtroom appearance, Taylor's behavior was theatrical. She smiled inappropriately, made faces at cameras, acted like she was enjoying the attention. But was this genuine mental illness or calculated performance? The evidence pointed to performance. Before jury selection, court cameras caught Taylor pointing finger guns at Judge Thomas Walsh, repeatedly aiming at him like she was shooting. Later, she flipped off the same judge. These weren't symptoms of psychotic break, they were deliberate acts of defiance from someone testing the system's boundaries. But Taylor's most shocking courtroom moment was still coming. On July 11th, 2023, during a pretrial hearing, Taylor suddenly lunged at her defense attorney.
There's one witness. We're asking for a sequestration, but that may be a moot point.
All right. It is one witness, Your Honor.
Court video shows her leaping across the table, attacking the man trying to help her. Deputies rushed to restrain her. The courtroom was cleared. Taylor was wrestled to the ground. This wasn't her first attorney attack. Several public defenders had quit her case due to violent behavior.
Stop it. Stop it.
When asked about these incidents later, Taylor's explanation was revealing.
The most recent one, when my attorney, he was calling my and he was saying I need another competency here, and he kept on calling my sticking his tongue out at me, and so I went off on his. But the one before that, he was doing the same thing too, saying like about competency. He kept on saying you need more competency here, and you need more competency here, and they constantly keep on saying that. And I said, no, I'm straight. I'm straight. My dad showed up in the back of the courtroom, and then as soon as he popped through, that was my dad's previous attorney too, and then he had just fired it. He said, get this guy off your case. So then, as soon as my dad popped up into that courtroom, when he sat his down, I already knew it was go time, and that's when I had to go in. So then that's when I went in and I fired it.
She blamed her attorneys, not herself. She insisted she was competent to stand trial while simultaneously claiming mental illness as a defense. This contradiction would prove crucial. You can't be both competent and insane. If you're fascinated by how female criminals manipulate mental health defenses and legal systems, subscribe to Women of Crime. We analyze the psychology and strategies behind the most complex cases. The trial began July 24, 2023. The prosecution's case was straightforward: premeditated murder followed by deliberate corpse mutilation. The defense argued severe mental illness rendered Taylor legally insane. The prosecution presented devastating evidence: body camera footage of the arrest, Taylor's detailed confession, crime scene photos so graphic some jurors looked away.
Man,
Most
this
damaging
the
was Taylor's
craziest
own
crime
voice
I
echoing
ever
through
seen.
the courtroom.
You ever love something so much that you can't?
Medical examiner Dr. Vincent Tranchita described Shad's injuries clinically: complete decapitation, multiple stab wounds, evidence of prolonged strangulation, dismemberment requiring hours of sustained effort. The prosecution also called A.J. Gannon, who testified that both Taylor and Shad seemed normal the night before the murder. No signs of mental illness or impending violence.
And did you notice anything odd about Taylor as far as her mannerisms, her eyes, her speech, anything like that?
No.
Did you have any feelings that she was acting weird when you had contact with her? Bizarre?
The defense countered with expert witnesses, painting Taylor as severely mentally ill. Dr. Deborah Collins, a forensic psychologist, testified about Taylor's bipolar disorder with psychotic features.
It's really, really unusual. And I searched my own 32-year memory bank here, and it's exceptionally unusual.
Dr. Collins described Taylor's facial expressions as smirky and weird grinning, not enjoyment, but psychosis symptoms.
Very unusual. She's been described as smirky. Smirky. She has inappropriate, grinning, weird grinning. When she's talking about the crimes, people have interpreted it to be like laughing at what she did. At times, in the jail, with evaluators, with me, at times, briefly, it's very strange. Other times looking, I can mimic it. Very,
go play bingo.
Scowly. A lot of people interpret it superficially to be grinning. Grinning it all, but getting a kick out of everything. Not me. Based on my experience and training, that's a psychotic person right there. That's what's causing this really weird, bizarre. And I'm telling you.
The defense argued drug use had exacerbated underlying mental illness, creating conditions that led to murder. But the prosecution had powerful rebuttals. If Taylor was truly insane, how could she methodically cover up her crime? How could she dismember a body with such precision? How could she give coherent, detailed confessions? And there was her ongoing courtroom behavior. During breaks, cameras caught Taylor laughing at her attorney's comments. When graphic autopsy photos were discussed, she smiled. When the judge ruled against her, she made inappropriate faces. This wasn't psychotic behavior. This was someone treating the proceedings like entertainment. The most telling moment came during AJ's testimony. As he described the last time he saw Shad alive, Taylor was caught on camera appearing amused. A man was describing her victim's final hours, and Taylor Shabiznis was smiling. The prosecution highlighted this behavior to devastating effect. Additional defense experts testified about Taylor's mental health history, childhood trauma, her mother's death, hospitalization records. They argued that untreated mental illness combined with drugs created someone not responsible for her actions. Dr. Matthew Siepel from the Wisconsin Forensic Unit had evaluated Taylor and concluded she wasn't criminally responsible. But Dr. Siepel's evaluation was complicated by Taylor's uncooperative behavior during testing, inconsistent answers, apparent malingering, faking symptoms for legal advantage. The prosecution seized on this inconsistency. If Taylor was truly mentally ill, why could she manipulate psychological evaluations? A pattern emerged throughout the trial. Taylor's behavior changed depending on her audience and what was at stake. When it might help her case, she acted bizarre. When she needed to appear competent, she was suddenly lucid. This chameleon-like ability suggested manipulation rather than mental illness. The turning point came when prosecutors played Taylor's most recent jailhouse interview, not from 2022 after the murder, but from 2023 while awaiting trial. Taylor had written her version of events like a poem, reading it aloud with no emotion.
I was on the run in Texas after having my baby taken. I decided to make things right and clear it up north. When I got back, they put my on the bracelet. I went to buy a bag on the low, so I went to my ex who was a Satan disciple, and family, we all Latin kings, so we beefing. We don't with SDs. I gave him $100 for the bag, and the bag was $50. He pocketed the cash. Me and him and another homie all smoked up, and then my homie left, and I went to drop off my ex, and he wanted before I left. So I went into the basement, and he went and pulled out 2 chains. I asked him, where my money at, fool? And he said, I ain't got it. So I took a chain, I put it around his neck, and I asked him again, where my at?
She's dumb as hell.
His face turned purple. There was blood coming out of his mouth. So I laid down on the bed and to listen to his heartbeat, and I said, damn, this motherfucker's still beating. I went upstairs to grab a kitchen knife. I went back downstairs, took off his pants. I sucked his cut his head off at the same time, because the only SD that I would ever be doing would be sucking. Then I chopped his off and concealed the crime.
This wasn't psychotic rambling. This was calculated recounting from someone who remembered every detail and showed no remorse. The jury deliberated briefly before returning with swift verdicts.
As follows, we, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Shabiznis, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information, dated this date, July 26, 2023, signed by the foreperson. The second verdict reads as follows. We, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Shabiznis, guilty of mutilating a corpse as charged in count 2 of the information, dated this date, July 26, 2023, signed by the foreperson. The next verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Shabiznis, guilty of third-degree sexual assault as charged in count 3 of the information, dated this date, 26th day of July, 2023, signed by the foreperson.
Taylor showed no emotion as the verdicts were read, no tears, shock, or disappointment. Just the same blank stare she'd maintained throughout, but Wisconsin law required a second phase to determine her mental state during the crimes. The question, did Taylor have a mental disease or defect preventing her from understanding her actions' wrongfulness? This phase lasted 1 day. The jury heard the same experts, reviewed identical evidence, considered the same arguments. Their answer was unanimous, no. Taylor Shabiznis was legally sane when she murdered Shad Therian. She knew her actions were wrong and did them anyway. For the first time since arrest, Taylor's facade cracked. As the sanity verdict was read, her smirk disappeared. Her confidence faltered. Life in prison without parole was finally becoming real. But even then, Taylor couldn't resist one final defiant act. As she was led from the courtroom, she turned to cameras and mouthed something observers couldn't decipher. Profanity, perhaps, or threats. Whatever it was vintage Taylor Shabiznis, always trying to control the narrative, always needing the last word. 3 months later, sentencing arrived. Judge Thomas Walsh had his opportunity to address the woman who had terrorized his courtroom and traumatized an entire community.
So I have to consider the gravity of the offense, the character of the defendant, the need to protect the public, as well as other aggravating and mitigating circumstances, including rehabilitative needs and punishment and deterrence, and then craft a sentence in each case that's appropriate. The defendant's character, I can say that over the course of this case, I've learned a great deal about you, Miss Shabiznis. First of all, you were born in Chicago, lived there until you were about age 12 rather. You seem to have had a stable childhood. You were loved by your mother and your father and your brother. And unfortunately, your mother passed away when you were 12, your brother passed away in a vehicle accident, and your dad's incarcerated.
He acknowledged her difficult childhood, mental health struggles, and trauma history, but he also addressed the brutal reality of her crime.
The list of superlatives don't seem to measure up to what you see and what you hear about, and what we heard about in the trial. This crime offends human decency, it offends human dignity, and it offends the human community. It really does.
The inevitable sentence? Life in prison, without possibility of parole. Taylor remained emotionless as her fate was sealed. The woman who had laughed and smirked throughout trial sat in stony silence as the judge condemned her to die behind bars. But Taylor's story didn't end with sentencing. In recent jailhouse interviews, she remained defiant, maintaining her insanity despite jury findings.
Definitely insane. You know, I should have went back to Chicago. I should have went down south, but I didn't do that. I stayed up north. I stayed around in Green Bay. I went back to where my bracelet was at, and to continue going to work, and then continue on from there. But instead, I just smoked up with my roommate, and that was that.
She seemed more upset about getting caught than taking someone's life. When asked about her future, Taylor hinted at appeals and new legal strategies.
I'm a voluntarily dismiss the no merit and extend the time to file a post-conviction motion.
Taylor faces another trial in October 2024, this time for allegedly assaulting a prison staff member. Even behind bars, she can't resist violence. The case also revealed Taylor's fascination with Jeffrey Dahmer, Wisconsin's most notorious serial killer. Her search history showed multiple Dahmer-related queries around the murder timeframe. A photo emerged of Taylor posing next to a Dahmer image on her phone. When asked about this connection, Taylor explained.
I had my niece with me, and she was watching a whole lot of series on Dahmer. And then everybody thought I was dating Dahmer, so people were laughing at my saying I was dating Dahmer. I took a picture with his and then I was trying to put it on a blow-up doll, a customized blow-up doll, because
the safe and then send it off to one of my friends.
But Taylor insisted she wasn't a female Jeffrey Dahmer, claiming she'd only killed one person.
Nah. I mean, no, there's mother out there that, you know, you really want to you beef with hard. I mean, yeah, you want to murder mother, but, you know, I mean, that's what other mother they be saying on my name, that I've killed more than one, but, man, I'm trying to work on this appeal, yo, and get out.
Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of Taylor's case isn't what she did to Shad Therian, horrific as that was. It's what she represents, criminals who weaponize mental illness and turn courtrooms into performance stages. Her case raises questions about distinguishing genuine psychiatric crisis from calculated manipulation. The system diagnosed her with mental illness as a teenager, but failed to provide consistent treatment despite her father's efforts. What we know is that Taylor made choices. Despite her struggles, she chose to kill, dismember, and mock the legal system trying to hold her accountable. The jury saw through her performance. Taylor isn't unique. She represents criminals who use mental illness as a weapon and refuse personal responsibility. They're smart enough to be dangerous, manipulative enough to be convincing, and disturbed enough to be terrifying. The Green Bay jury decided mental illness doesn't excuse murder. Taylor knew her actions were wrong and did them anyway. Even now in prison, Taylor continues fighting, filing motions, claiming innocence, insisting she was a victim of circumstances beyond her control. Her mask finally slipped when the verdict was read, when she realized her performance had failed and she would spend her life in prison. That's when we saw the real Taylor Schabusiness. Not the broken victim she pretended to be, but the calculating killer who thought she could talk her way out of consequences. And there's still more to this story. Taylor faces another trial in October 2024 for allegedly assaulting a prison staff member. Even behind bars, the violence continues. The case proves that some people don't just commit crimes, they perform them. And the next performance might be happening closer to home than you think. She sat in that courtroom like she owned it, laughing, smirking, making faces at the judge like this was all some sick joke. This 25-year-old woman acted like a rock star who just walked off stage, not someone on trial for one of Wisconsin's most disturbing crimes. She mocked the court. She claimed she wasn't in her right mind. She played every card she could think of to avoid prison. It was all an act, her sure way of going home. But then came the moment that shattered that illusion and wiped the smile clean off her face.
Man, that was deep right there, man. Woo-wee, man. How y'all feeling about that one? That was pretty deep. That was a very good one, man. I'm telling you, I'll be trying to scour for the best crimes for y'all. Shout out to all my mods and all my members. Shout out to Willie Lynch. Shout out to Willie Lynch for hitting the cash up. I didn't even see that, but I definitely appreciate it. Shout out to everybody that dropped some jewels on tonight's program. Now, I did have a super chat goal up there, you know what I'm saying, for an extra hour. I do got another sizzling hot one. I know it's late, you know what I'm saying? So if y'all want an extra hour, you know, ain't nothing wrong with sprinkling me with a couple jewels, couple, you know, super chats, little cash app or something. We can, you know what I'm saying? I'm working here. I've been bringing y'all this quality entertainment. Again, shout out Willie Lynch for hitting the cash app and everybody that hit the jewels. Matter of fact, let me look you in your optical retinas. For everybody, your first time, make sure you subscribe at least. Make sure you hit that like button. We got 2 streams running. So if you're on the skinny stream with the picture above me and the chat below me, we got the landscape version where you can watch it on a big screen and you can see the pictures and the people a little bit better. And you can see the other chat because there's 2 channels going on right now. And then that means you can interact with everybody in the chat. What y'all want to do? Can y'all do another hour? Who wants the other hour? I just got a smooth little, nice little pick me up. Again, thank you, Willie Lynch. I appreciate that. That was pretty. The last one was pretty darn intense, man. It's even hard to rank them for the night. That one would, I think that's the most demon devilistic, but then like, is that more sinister than playing a kid online and searching for kids? Is that more sinister than playing a stalker just to get your wife? I mean, we had some really heavy cases tonight. Said, damn, I was messed up too. Yeah, the dad. Oh yeah. The daddy that killed the mom. Yeah. But nah, I think the head in the bucket takes the cake though. For real. What y'all doing up so late, man? Where y'all tapping in from? Can we get a roll call real quick? Come on. Can I get a roll call from the crime music real quick? Where y'all tapping in from? Tell me what city and state y'all tapping in on the crime side of the game. Bama, okay, Bama's up in here. By the way, for my late night crime lovers, I did take the advice of what the people say, and I made us a shirt, y'all. Boston up in here. We got Michigan up in here. We got Chicago up in here. 6 a.m. in New York. We got Boston. We got California. We got Norfolk, Virginia. We got San Francisco, Cali. Okay, we deep. Amsterdam, 12 a.m. in the future. Oh no, you behind us. So, or maybe you is in the future next day. Who else we got up here? Oh, we got Australia, Sydney. Shout out to Sydney up in here on the late night crime side of the game. We got Nashville, Brooklyn. Okay. All right, we deep. North Carolina, East Coast, Utah over here. The Yay area. You know what I'm talking about? On the crime side of the game, we deep. Indiana. Again, shout out to Indiana. Always showing love, supporting the program. We got Nebraska up in here. We got Detroit up in here. What up, though? It's just me up in here on the nighttime, on the late night hype side of the game, on the late night crime fix side of the game. I see you. Hey, the real bucket. Okay, I see you. Thanks for the jewels. Oh yeah, I'm always up for some late night crime on the late night crime side of the game. Oh, okay, Sprinkleman, Maine, with a little. I'm in Las Vegas, the city that never sleeps. I'm on the West Coast, up late doing crime. I'm on a streaming spree, y'all. I've been going hard every day. For days, I ain't missed a day. I'm not going to tell, I can't really say when I'm going to stop because it's a personal goal. But I'm climbing. So I'd appreciate the likes and I appreciate the subscribes, you know what I'm saying? One thing I ask, if you want to support the channel, make sure you watch it on the landscape version. The one that you see real big. The landscape version is usually the one with the least amount of views on it. So like if you click on the channel, if you keep it on, it's only two. If you click on J Lava or you click on Keep It P Raw, then you will scroll down, you'll see two streams. One gonna have a bunch of views and one's gonna have not that many. Always watch the one that don't got that many. Hey, thank you so much. The Real Bucket, I appreciate the support for the broadcast. Oh, this is also what I did for the broadcast, y'all. I keep forgetting. I made the shirts, y'all. I made the joints. Thanks for the jewels with on the Sprinkle Me side of the game. Hold up. I made these shirts, man. Stay alive. Don't get murdered. You can catch them in the Teespring shop. The Teespring shop. All you got to do is go to the YouTube channel, and you can get right to the Teespring shop. Hey, Kels, I appreciate the jewels, y'all, with the Sprinkle Me's. You know what I'm saying? I was born in Chicago. Kels, I was born in Chicago. I was raised in Minnesota, Minneapolis. But I've been in Vegas for like almost 7-8 years now, like 8 years now. So I'm on the West Coast now. I appreciate all the love and the support, y'all. Let me see. You know, I gotta give y'all another case. Y'all done sprinkled your boy. I gotta give y'all another case. But the one I had was like an hour and a half long. But you know what? It ain't nothing wrong with some quick bite-sized crime. Let's get a quick little bite size in there real quick. Little bite sizer. You know what I'm saying? Let's get a little bite sizer.
Canada to discuss the arrangements. She showed him the life insurance documents.
She was looking at it, looking down, smiling at it, and even in this strange way, petting this piece of paper.
Which beneficiary was getting the largest portion?
Monica, the defendant.
So, there were two angles emerging to this case. On the one hand, there was the mysterious Rob Baker, tangentially connected to the family and linked to the crime scene by his DNA. On the other, there was Monica, whose fantastically wealthy husband had just died, leaving her with a substantial fortune of her own. She had the motive, while Rob had the opportunity. What remained was to find what connected the two. Monica was born in October 1972, also a Toronto native. She met Fabio in 1997 at the salon he ran with his sister. She was a makeup artist and came to the salon as a customer, but quickly turned into something more. Fabio had been married before to Luigi's mother, whom he divorced in 1995. 2 years single, to Fabio, Monica represented an exciting new start, and to Monica, Fabio represented a successful future. His career was on the up, and he was on his way to becoming famous. She fell in love with him, and she fell in love with the glamour of the lifestyle they would lead together. They moved from Toronto to LA with their daughters in 2011. There, Monica had a few part-time jobs, but she spent the majority of her time handling the family's finances and organizing their schedules. They had a housekeeper, gardeners, and someone who looked after the pool. They lived a very privileged life. Monica liked to take advantage of this. The family went on many exotic vacations to places like Hawaii, Cabo, and St. Thomas. These trips were rewards as part of Fabio's work, one of the many perks that he gave the family.
For me, my family comes first.
Monica was just along for the ride. But is there such a thing as too much luxury? They say that money doesn't buy happiness. For Monica, maybe this was the case. She grew dissatisfied with her life with Fabio, despite all its opulent advantages.
I see you.
In 2015, she joined the Racquetball League at LA Fitness in Canoga Park. She wanted to get in shape and meet new people, and she hired a personal trainer, a man named Matt Nurse. But Matt wasn't just a trainer to her. She downloaded pictures from his social media accounts and wound up asking him out for drinks. Matt turned her down, but she confided in him anyway.
She would talk about her kids, and then she told me she was unhappy in her marriage. She thought he was cheating on her. I said, why don't you just get a divorce?
And what did she say to you?
Why throw away 20 years?
Why throw away 20 years and a luxurious lifestyle when she could seek sexual fulfillment elsewhere anyway? Because, having failed with Matt, she turned her attention to other men at the gym, in particular, Robert Baker. In December 2015, she reached out to him to request racquetball lessons. She was already flirting in her email. They scheduled a lesson, and he gave her his phone number. The lesson must have gone well. Shortly afterwards, they started having an affair. And contrary to what Monica had told the police, she brought him back to the Cementilli's house. On one occasion, Monica and Fabio's daughter, Jessica, who was 17 at the time, even saw him.
I went to my mother's bathroom to take mascara or something because I like to do my mascara in her bathroom. And I didn't notice anything, but when I came out, I noticed Rob in her bed. She told me that he doesn't drink often. They had a party last night. Her friend Sheila, I think, they all came over, and he doesn't drink often. He got drunk, and so he slept it off.
It wasn't a small house. There were other beds, but Rob had slept in Monica's. It seemed a weak excuse. In reality, Rob and Monica had been sleeping together for months. Between January 2016 and January 2017, she called Rob over 9,000 times. He called her over 17,000 times. They were clearly head over heels for each other. And though Fabio was often away on business, Monica remained married, and that marriage was becoming an inconvenience. Rob later testified to this.
Did you keep, or did you endeavor to keep the sexual relationship with Monica Simontilli secret?
I did.
And was that her desire as well?
Yes.
How did you go about keeping it secret?
Every way possible.
They used an encrypted app, Viber, to keep their communications secret. Was this just to keep the affair from her husband? Or was there something else they didn't want a record of? Rob denied that Monica had had anything to do with her husband's death.
So did she ever tell you that she would divorce her husband for you?
We touched on it lightly, but I could tell that she wasn't going to do that. That wasn't going to happen.
And eventually, did that become one of the reasons why you decided to murder him?
You lose him, how you get him, fam?
I murdered him because I wanted her.
Damn.
This was a story of infidelity and lovers' jealousy, right out of one of the movies filmed just around the corner in Hollywood. Monica fell into an affair with a dangerous man, and her husband paid the price. So Rob's claims went. There was another person involved in this killing regardless.
A gun was out of the question because it's too loud. Figured the best way to use was a knife.
His name was Christopher Austin. He and Rob had grown up together in North Carolina and had remained trusted friends, even across geographical distance, when Rob wound up in LA and Chris in Alaska. When Rob needed an accomplice to carry out a murder, Chris was top of his list. He paid for Chris's plane ticket down from Alaska, and the plan was born.
Signing off.
On January 20th, he picked Chris up from the airport. Chris stayed with him in his house, and that night, Rob gave him a knife. It was a matter of finding the right opportunity.
Never trust a nigga from Alaska.
Rob claimed that he didn't ask Monica where Fabio would be, or when he would be alone at the house, or what the best way to get into this highly secure and gated community was. Instead, he just read between the lines of her texts.
Well, if she texts how you doing, babe, or something like that, usually when that happens, either he's getting ready to go somewhere or he's gone already. Because she's never going to text me or call me usually if he's around or he's in the house. It's never going to happen.
Monica told Rob that Fabio was going out to get food. So Rob dropped Chris off at this location, expecting him to kill Fabio on an isolated stretch of road. Rob realized he couldn't outsource this killing. He'd have to do it himself and involve Chris as a lookout so he wouldn't snitch. The opportunity presented itself again on January 23rd. Rob met Monica to play racquetball that day, an activity she hadn't mentioned to the police in her interview later that night, and claims he asked casually about Fabio's movements that day.
Since he was staying home, he's been home.
And so Rob learned that Fabio would be alone in the house, alone and vulnerable.
All because Fabio was giving your girl the fiberglass, fam? Fabio was giving your girl the Febreze? And now you had to meet up with your guy. Chris had to come slide with you because Fabio was sliding your girl to Ferjoli
to attack. He and Chris parked their car a mile or so away from the house. They wore hoodies to hide their faces from the cameras, and they jogged up to the house, both armed with knives. Chris stood watch outside, while Rob crept inside looking for Fabio. He found him.
Hey, get you some black friends like Chris. Yeah. Get you some black friends that's willing to slide because you butthurt about your girl slapping Fabio's turkey, bopping his bologna, smacking his salami, Y'all finna go slide on Fabio. He weak as hell for that, though. Fabio's just being a player doing his thing, trying to get a little booty. Dang, you gotta knife Fabio up. From Alaska too. They got riders in Alaska. Hey, don't run up on no nigga from Alaska, cuz you will get done up. It's all bad news for Fabio, boy. Damn.
On the back patio by the pool.
It just catching him off guard. That was all it was. When I approached him, he either heard me or he saw me. He turned around real fast. He yelled, and he grabbed me by my shirt, by my hoodie, by my chest. I tried to cut him the first time. I kind of lost track of everything then.
You ain't lose track of nothing, boy. You was envisioning your girl getting that ham sandwich. That's what you was. Fabio was fiddling your feline. That's what he was doing. Fabio was flexing in your girl's femur, and you couldn't feel that. Fabio was testing your girl's limits. Fabio was taking your girl there, taking her through there. And you was like, we gotta get this nigga. You think you finna slide on my chick like that? Hell no. You're out of here, buddy. I'm catching you on the patio by the pool. You're done.
Fabio tried to fight back against this vicious, unprovoked attack. He was bigger than Rob, but Rob had a single, mindful, awful purpose.
I'm getting you for beating my girl's buns. You are the bun beater that I am finna delete. You're out of here, buddy. You won't breathe another day. You mess with the wrong buns, buddy.
And how many times did you stab Fabio?
I have no idea. I just kept on trying to cut. I just know I was moving.
That boy was trying to cut the memories and the visual aspects of them buns being tore to shreds. He put a cake mixer on them buns and made dough, and you just couldn't take it.
Until I felt him weaken, until I felt him let go of me.
Rob stabbed Fabio until he was dead. Then he had to cover his tracks.
First thing to try to do is start pulling out drawers and throwing clothes around to make it look like it was a home invasion.
Then he and Chris took the Porsche and fled the scene.
Took the Porsche, rode out. They rode out in style too, right? They slid and then skirt, skirt in the Porsche real quick. Skirt, skirt.
They dumped it that same night, again trying to dispose of the evidence of what they'd done. But it contained blood. Blood whose DNA matched Rob. Rob, at least, wasn't getting away with this heinous crime. But was he telling the truth? Had it been only him and Chris involved in this killing? Had Monica had no idea? On the day of Fabio's murder, she and Rob exchanged 95 encrypted messages on Viber. That night, Rob deleted the app and all its data, trying to hide whatever they'd been saying on it.
Well, wait a minute. There was a chink in old Fabio's armor. Fabio obviously wasn't putting it down like that now. Uh-oh. Fabio was fabricated. Fabio was falsified. Was Fabio's flag down? What? Plot twist. Uh-oh.
The police were initially investigating. They asked for the passcode to her phone. She told them she couldn't remember it. In extreme shock, maybe this could be true for some people, but not for Monica. She was lying because the passcode was Rob's birthday. She clearly had deep feelings for him. She was in the habit of introducing herself as Monica Baker instead of Monica Cementilli. She claimed this was because Baker was easier to pronounce. She was apparently planning to buy him a house in Las Vegas.
Oh, what? He had the magic stick. Oh, no. Pimping ain't easy and somebody just has to do it. Oh, no. He was knocking the bottom out that thing. Oh, Fabio. Fabio is flabbergasted. Not my boy coming through with the love stick. Oh no. He came through with the love stick. What? Oh, it gets deeper. Literally.
Using the proceeds from Fabio's life insurance to do it. In the months following Fabio's murder, the police put both Monica and Rob under surveillance. On February 21st, the police followed them to a bar. They were seen kissing right outside. This was just a month after her husband's murder, and she wasn't exactly the image of the grieving widow.
Not corn on the cob, Rob. Gave her the shellacky palaki. Had her tooted up for the insurance money. Damn, Rob was doing his job. Pimp hands strong. Sorry, Fabio, I hyped you up too quick there, buddy. Fabio needed some honey packs. Damn, Fabio. Ooh. The plot, and she was no spring chicken, I hear. She must had verbal motor skills. Mental psychologist. God, she had the brain aneurysm. God, what's going on over here? These folks is out of control.
More damningly, on the day of the killing itself, she had indeed gone to Target, but she'd met Rob there. They had a conversation in the parking lot before she went inside the store to establish her alibi, and he drove off to commit murder. She was seen on Target CCTV glued to her phone as she browsed the aisles, checking her home security, waiting for an update on the crime she'd commissioned her lover to commit.
If you like these buns, then you know what you gotta do. If you want these buns forevermore, you know what you gotta do. Yeah, these buns come with a price. Is you willing to pay the price for the hot cross buns? Crew, what up? Oh my God, my mans is out here going to the highest bidder for the Hawaiian buns. For the Frascata buns. That boy's putting in work for the pumpernickel. God damn. There's more.
In August, Monica and Rob were both arrested. They were arrested together deliberately. The police wanted to hear what they'd say to each other and if they'd reveal anything further about the crime. In lockup, they were like Bonnie and Clyde. They were also scrambling.
He said, I think we should get married even after the lockup. She really had a hold on my mans. She had that Sacagawea. What the hell? She had that Anne Frank. She had that Ricky Tiki Timbo. My man said, I'm finna get him a race, baby. It's just me and you and those buns. What? Wow. They both working with something because they had over head nails for each other. This is a love affair. Looks like another love TKO. Come on now. Don't you wish somebody had loved you like this? Once upon a time? Dang, how I feel to have that kind of love. They got that Thelma and Louise. What's going on here? Do you really want somebody to put it on you like that? I'm just, that's a real serious question. You gotta think if you really want them issues in your life like that. Y'all in the back of the squad car together, holding hands through the cuffs. Damn. Sheesh. This is powerful stuff here, people. Like, where do you draw such feelings from? I'm just saying. And you struggling to get a call back. People, your line dry as hell. And you got folks, man, you got folks willing to call a homeboy from Alaska to get you out of here, messing with my chick. The hell? I do that. I'll do that to you over mines. What? You better understand.
For a way out of their situation.
They're listening, they're watching, and they're digging for anything they can use, anything.
While in jail, the pair conducted explicit phone calls, continuing their relationship even behind bars. Rob claimed that Monica, at this point, had no idea that
he was cool with just the phone. They hooked it up so that how do you call each other in jail? How does that happen? Ain't no mountain high enough? Ain't no valley low enough? What? How How y'all 1-900 each other in jail? What in the T-Mobile conjugal visit is that? So they J-paying sex talk? Like what? How you do that? They FaceTiming on the J-Pay tablet? What they doing? What they trustees for conjugal visits? I'm trying to figure it out. Boy, the things that some people was able to do, you wouldn't believe if somebody told you this in your wildest dreams. But yet and still, here we go. We're hearing a story about these two crazy people that done, and they get the privilege of doing the nasty in jail. You ever heard of that? I was finna let it play, but I'm slowing down. Sometimes I've been learning to take in what's being said on some of these things. You ever heard of that? You ever heard somebody say to you, yeah, I was, my girl down, shit, we be talking all the time. What? How y'all do that? Interesting. Okay. I was today years old when I learned that. I was today years old.
He'd killed her husband, even though this was the very crime they'd been arrested for. This really stretched belief. They also tried to argue that Monica had cut Rob's hand when they were playing racquetball on the day of the murder, and she'd used her own towel to clean it up, which is why his blood was in her house that day. But this didn't explain the blood in Fabio's stolen Porsche. No, instead the truth was becoming clearer by the day. The police discovered an email dating from June 2016 when Monica sent Rob the login details of her home security system, and they suspected that she'd shown him where the physical DVR was kept. This enabled him to find it and remove it on the day of the murder, disposing of the evidence. Rather than an innocent bystander, robbed of her husband by her lover, Monica was a vital participant and even instigator in this horrible crime. The police spent the next few months looking for Rob's accomplice, the other man in the hoodie on the neighbor's CCTV. Initially, they suspected a man named Al Birdsong, a friend of Rob's who lived in Texas, but he had a watertight alibi, and eventually they found Chris Austin in October 2017. They connected Chris to Rob through phone and bank records, and when they brought him in, he folded. He pleaded guilty to second.
Now, I told you don't trust a nigga from Alaska. I knew it. Now he might ride, they be fighting polar bears and shit. But that nigga sang like a bird. And that's what your ass get too, bucko. See, you only supposed to go with your white friends when they doing fun shit. You ain't supposed to go run with them to stab somebody up over some mayo buns. You're just not supposed to do that. That was the part in which you were supposed to bow out. Did you feel obligated? Did he borrow you some money before? Was he funding your Alaska stay? Why did you feel compelled to ride with this nigga to go knife up his girl for some insurance money? Oh, he promised you some of the insurance money. You was down bad in Alaska and needed some money, so you was like, hey, what else I got to lose? I'm already in Alaska. This is crazy, man. He does deserve a Dummy of the Year award, because that was goof true. These people is out here, man. This is a crazy ass story.
Second-degree murder and the personal use of a knife in exchange for his testimony against Rob and against Monica.
I remember Baker saying she's going to come into some money. He tried to get me to come down earlier and I couldn't.
I told y'all.
Chris said that Rob had tried to get him to come down from Alaska earlier in December 2016. Rob implied that this would be financially advantageous for both of them. And it had something to do with Monica and Fabio. Money, not jealousy, was at the heart of this killing. Money and Monica's increasing distaste for the man she'd married. Rob told Chris all of this.
I realized that she don't like him, so she don't want to be with him no more. She wants him gone.
Involved in this conversation, too, was Al Birdsong, the former prime suspect for Rob's accomplice. He didn't appear to have had an active role in the killing, but Chris said he was there when they were discussing it, making it a conspiracy of 4.
This conversation is occurring. Are you under the clear impression now that it is to kill this woman's husband?
Yes.
Did you have an opinion who wanted it done?
Yes.
Who?
Monica wanted it. The wife wanted it done. I'm sorry.
Rob first told Chris that Monica didn't like her husband because he was abusive towards her. After the killing, however, he backtracked. He told Chris that she just wanted the insurance money. Chris also poked holes in Rob's story of the murder itself. Rob said that Fabio had spotted him and struggled for his life, but Chris said he didn't really get the chance. Chris told the police that Rob was in constant phone communication with Monica all that day, planning the murder. And in the weeks after the murder, she searched the Google query, "Do the police have the right to tap my cell phone?" She had a guilty conscience and a hunger for money. Money she'd never see, as the police interceded and got the insurance company to delay the payout. She schemed to get her children out of the house, manipulate the security system, and inform Rob of her husband's whereabouts for nothing. After Chris's guilty plea, the dominoes were falling. Rob also pleaded guilty, but he refused to roll on Monica. He claimed that he'd been acting entirely without her knowledge, as if trying to protect her. He was called as a defense witness in her trial, but his conviction actually worked against her, because he'd been sentenced to life in prison without parole. He had nothing to lose, and so the prosecution argued there could be no penalty if he perjured himself to save her, but his lies on the stand didn't work. It's unknown whether charges will be brought against Al Birdsong, but 3 of the 4 members of this horrific conspiracy now face justice. Rob, sentenced to life in prison without parole, and Chris and Monica both now awaiting sentencing. Together, they schemed to murder Fabio Sementilli, a charismatic professional and loving father, and tear a family apart.
Damn, y'all did Fabio like that, man.
Life is not about how hard you get hit, but life's about how hard you can get hit and still keep on going.
Now, his children continue to try to rebuild their lives, with Isabella following in her father's footsteps to become a hairstylist in Hollywood. What do you think about?
Damn. They did Fabio. It was just wrong, man. Damn. Now here I go thinking Fabio was the man. Pretty Ricky, what they call him. And all the time, your boy Rob had the corn on the cob for the job. Well, this was an action-packed night. Again, I appreciate all the love and support. I could be up here talking at myself, but y'all decided to spend y'all late nights ass up with me, yo, insomniacs. Some of y'all might be at work, and that's cool too. I appreciate it. And you know I gotta get to sleep because I got some more crime and all of that tomorrow. I'm trying to do bite-sized crime during the day. I'm trying to take this thing to a whole different level, so I appreciate y'all. And you know my little this saying real quick. You know how I do. I ain't gonna hold you, but I'm gonna mold you, fold you, and scold you about being on code. You know I got 4 words for you. I need the new peoples to go ahead and subscribe for the vibes, like for the spike in the algorithm, share if you care about getting crime everywhere. Please do that on the platforms that we own, Jones. And just to bring it all the way home, I got love, peace, blessings, and aloha. I'm out the Doha for Shoha. Yeah.